Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Chatting with Nuts. This is episode number 93, and we're joined by a former guest who's only been on the show one time, and it has been quite a while since he has been back, but I am so happy to introduce you all once again to the legendary Brian from BellTube. I mean, Brian, how are you? We got to pretend like we haven't been talking for 10 minutes.
I know.
How are you?
Jimmy, how are you? I feel like it's been over a year since we've last talked. I'm doing great. Thank you for having me on the Friday Night Delight. It's the greatest. This is the show that I look forward to watching more than any other show. So it's awesome to be on.
You're always in the chat.
Perfect.
You're always raising hell as well. It seems as if I can always count on you to make a pretty good pun. I might be the only one laughing, but I always do laugh at your jokes. I find them very funny.
Why, thank you. And most of them actually are intended for you to get you to break during the interview.
You are playing the role that I like to play in live streams, which is in the chat saying the most outlandish things possible.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite things. I would say you're more family friendly than me, though. I get a little raunchy in other people's chats, and I don't think everyone appreciates it. But
only because I'm newer. You give me the amount of time that you've been on this, and you know Brian Uncensored. You know me well enough. Yeah, the truth will be revealed. It's just I'm slow rolling it out. It's a slow burn on my descent into channel oblivion and comments that are inappropriate.
Yeah, Brian and I are in a competition to see whose video can tank the fastest out of our most recent uploads.
I know Jimmy won this week. I'm pissed.
Hey, big shout out to Gavin Reads It All. There is no one having more fun reading and bringing community together than Gavin. He did 7 hours worth of sprints today that I unfortunately was not able to sit through because of life getting in the way. But Gavin put out the call and said, hey, I'm going to be here at Chatting with Nuts tonight. You should be too. And Gavin, I greatly appreciate that. It's very kind of you. But also, I mean, folks, if you're not watching Gavin, you're just not having as much fun as you possibly could, because there's no one having more fun doing this, I swear.
He is absolutely a top 5 favorite channel of mine. Top 5, top 10. I don't know. I have too many BookTube friends to rank them. Maybe that's what I should do. Tier list all my BookTube friends.
It's something I've been thinking about doing for a long time, but I mean, really, everyone would just be waiting to see where I put Alan,
I know. I think Alan would get his own category, but I agree with you about Gavin. Before we get too far off the rails, he's awesome. I loved his sprints today. That is a guest that I would absolutely love to have come on my show, because I think Gavin and I would have a lot to talk about for a couple of hours. So Gavin, the invite is extended whenever you would like, if ever you would like.
Listen, Gavin's super easy to talk to. I'm not bragging, but he has been on Chatting with Nuts. It was a big moment for him. He really felt like he had made it at that point, and I was happy
that's
to
what
give
I
him
hear.
The platform. Yeah,
that's really what I hear. That the word on the street was Gav was pretty psyched.
He was super graceful, gave me a lot of his time. He is not in the same time zone as me, so he sacrificed some sleep for that. And it's actually one of my more favorite episodes from recent memory. So, you do watch a lot of BookTube. You have all these favorites, but like, who's your favorite to watch right now? Just right now, so no one should be offended. Like recently, who would you say has really been doing for you?
I gotta go with my brother in the South, John Minton, A Talking Story. Speaking of him, wow, I swear to God, I didn't even see that.
I did not plan that. That was good.
We are just mono, man. We are so synced up. Folks, you are in for just a treat.
It's the glasses.
Just a delight. Anyway, I've been watching, I watch everybody's videos. It's been therapeutic for me to watch a lot of people's videos. I don't miss any of Mike's videos. I don't miss any of Philip's videos. When you put a video out, I watch it, even though I have no idea what book you're talking about. But I watch it anyway because it's great. Who else do I watch? I watch all of Joanna's videos. I watch all of Tori's videos.
This is an audit, by the way. Actually, I was paid by many other booktubers to audit you on who you're watching.
Audit me to find out who I actually watch.
Yeah.
And, I comment on almost everybody's videos. So I actually do watch a lot of them. I used to watch Matt on books when he made videos back in the early 2000s. So, yeah.
Okay. But I told you to pick one, Ryan. You picked 17. You have to pick one.
Oh, shit. Well, then I'm going to go with John just because he's my brother in the South.
Yeah. Okay. I think John's a good guess. I just released book Discovery. The Mittens
Yeah,
have released a book. They had a stream last night that everyone was pretty excited about, and hats off to them. Pretty cool thing to put out a story out there into the world, right?
absolutely. It's a great book. I mean, that's the thing when your friends write books that you're crossing your fingers the whole time. Um, Please don't let this suck. Hey, look at that, Gavin. Phew,
Hey, shoot your
awesome.
shot, bro. Shoot your shot.
Absolutely. Oh, him and I are gonna have a blast on that show for sure.
Paul the Bookworm says it's 12:30 a.m. in the morning here. I can't stay. I just wanted to say hi. Check out the replay tomorrow. Paul, we look forward to seeing you on what BellTube has dubbed Team Replay. I say that everywhere, but I believe you dubbed that term for live
I may
streams.
have. I may have. I may have. Copyright strike incoming.
Yeah. Well, I've sent many your way.
Oh, absolutely. Folks, I've been demonetized by Jimmy Nuts now at least 7 or 8 times. So it's pretty incredible. It's just
I see you kind of getting momentum. I'm like, I gotta chop them down because you
oh,
already
for
stole
sure.
you stole the glasses. Now you have over the ear headphones. You got a nice microphone. I think we actually have the same microphone possibly, but you just have the smaller. You don't have as hard of P's when you speak as I do. I think so. You don't have to use
Yes.
this big monstrosity that I hate to look at. But I wanted to
Correct.
cut you down and make sure you didn't grow too fast.
Oh, I mean, what you've done is you've not only cut the tree down, you ripped half the roots out. So it's like it refuses to grow back up. It's slowly. It's just, it's a
Listen,
slow diminish.
you are no longer my enemy, Brian, because I actually have a newfound enemy, and that's Talking Story. Who's here? He said, Jimmy, you were very kind. John, when you were on Chatting with Nuts, I'm going to call this out here on a live stream. When you were on Chatting with Nuts, you said, "Hey, Jimmy, we'd love to have you along for the Book of the New Sun read along." I said, "Oh," he's like, "Philip's going to be there, Christopher Rocky. It's going to be a great time, man. Love to have you." John, very welcoming.
Yeah.
And then I see a Book of the New Sun discussion, and I'm not on it. And I'm like, did John forget about me? Did John purposely leave me off? I don't think that's the case. Certainly it wouldn't be, right?
I think it was. I mean, he hasn't told me directly, but I mean, I can infer, when you're left out, that might make some sense to me.
I think it does. But I will say this, in all fairness, I probably wouldn't be able to join anyway. So it's definitely one of those things where like, you
I
didn't invite
love
me,
it.
well, I couldn't come anyways.
I love it when you can find a reason to complain about something that you're glad didn't happen.
Oh, in the back of my mind, I'm like, I hope he doesn't invite me for book 2 because I can't do it.
Absolutely. And don't forget, folks, Jimmy and I have a read-along buddy read going on of Earth of the New Sun starting in July of 2029. Both of our channels will be resurrected just for that one discussion. It's going to be fantastic.
We have been talking about reading that book for 2 years.
I know, right?
We will one day read it. We will.
We
I
will.
promise. I promise.
We will. When the sun is actually really dying, that's when we're going to go, hey, you know what? It's probably atmospheric at this point. We should probably start reading it. Yeah. Go.
I think so. Reader's Journey said, I just started reading the Bone Clocks the other day. Ooh, buddy, this book is so fun. I love to hear that. Way better success rate on Bone Clocks, referring that as a David Mitchell book than Cloud Atlas. A great move for you. And Reader's Journey, I don't remember if you've read Cloud Atlas, but if you haven't, and you love Bone Clocks, that would be the next challenge, I would say. That would be the next challenge. Talking Story has responded, folks. Drama alert. Wee-woo. Alarms going off. Dude, I would never leave you off, and I'll spend my life making this up this late. You don't have to make up anything, John. I'm just teasing you. You can make me a brisket when I stop by your house. That would
Deal.
be great.
Yeah, I'll come too.
Gavin said, the way you effortlessly call each other out is one of my favorite parts of Chatting with Nuts. I get so much tea. There's all the tea. There's all the tea.
Isn't it though?
It's fun to get riled up about silly things, especially whenever real life tends to be so not fun this year for me. Which is why I'm happy that you're here, Brian. You're always, like you said, you're very good at picking people up, and I need to pick me up, man. I need a little pep in my step. I need a little kick in the pants. I have this tonight. We're doing the stream. We're talking about some wonderful books, I'm sure. I got a bunch of questions for you. But also tomorrow, folks, the lovely Mrs. Nuts, who does so much to keep this channel afloat and keep me afloat as a person. We are celebrating 6 years married tomorrow. We've been together for 11, I think. 11.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you,
I'm
man.
fairly certain I haven't been on 11 dates with the same person before. So that is incredible. Congrats to both of you.
Yeah, congrats to her for putting up with me and literally keeping me together most of the times because sometimes I can't do it myself. So I would be nothing without her, and this channel would be dead without her. If I'm being quite honest, she's taken on a lot of the load to help out, and it's greatly appreciated. So shout
Well,
out to
she's been
Mrs.
awesome.
Nuts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when she's been on both in the chat and when she's been on screen with you, she's awesome.
Yeah, she's very great. You know, Christina also, Natural, Alan's wife, Christina, she posted a
Yeah.
review today of Vanish Birds, which I thought was awesome and such a natural. You know, there's definitely times where I feel as if the ladies behind the behind the dudes on BookTube may be actually more
For sure.
articulate.
hmm I don't doubt that. Yeah, Christina makes great videos, and some of the promos that she made, God, it must have been about half a year ago or
Yeah.
so. I don't remember what it was, but they were like theatrical, very cinematic, and I
Yeah.
was like, holy shit, this girl can just absolutely crank it out when it comes to video production. So yeah, it's really
Yeah,
good.
and it's a shame to be wasted on Alan's channel. You know, it'd be better if she started her own because I mean that channel, jeez.
I mean, really? Seriously. I mean, for the tens of people that are reading the books that he's reading, absolutely.
Yeah, it's just Tom Holt and KJ Parker who are the same person. It's actually just him on two different Google accounts. Nerd
That's
Lover
excellent.
Nerd Lover Rise said, Jimmy, just remember that I invited you to my read along for Will the Many. I didn't forget like someone over there. So yeah, we got a great read along going for that. I'm about to finish that book this weekend. I will not give away too much of my reaction to it because I'm going to cover it next. I think it's 2 Fridays from now on the wrap up in a nutshell stream. But it's certainly not going to be book of the year. I will say that it is not going to be book of the year, but I don't know how much of that's to blame on the book or the fact that I'm not swell at the moment. So Samwise says, remember guys, Earth is the best of the 5 in my opinion. Talking about Earth of the New Sun, which you are the only person I've ever heard say that. Samwise, the only. So Garrick said, currently on year 9 of saying this is the year I'll read Earth of the New Sun. We stand in solidarity with you, Garrick.
And it's so weird because it's not like we disliked Book of the New Sun. We loved it. So right. So it's like it's this very strange barrier that somehow it doesn't feel like part 5. It feels like its own thing. I don't know why.
So there's a little bit of me about Earth of the New Sun. The trepidation that I have about it is the fact that from what I know, Gene Wolfe didn't want to write it. And the publisher wanted him to write it. And that makes me feel odd. I don't know how much I love it. It's like whenever there's not a planned sequel and then there's a sequel.
And then I
never like these things.
I agree with you, but I have such admiration for Gene Wolfe. I know he's not going to put crap on paper. And even if it wasn't maybe his initial motivation to write the book, I bet once he started going, he just rocked it out.
I'm sure he showed up. He's a professional.
Yeah.
Right. He's going to do his job. I think he's a pretty damn talented writer. I'm excited to read it, but there is that little bit of trepidation just being like, oh, it wasn't a part of the original plan. So I always feel weird about that. It's like, what was a TJ Klune book I liked? House in the Cerulean Sea. Got a sequel. I will never read that because it wasn't supposed to have a sequel from what I know.
Interesting.
Someone's going to come in here.
I'm sort of like that about like the Shogun miniseries that they're writing a season 2 for.
Yes. Go off.
Why?
It's so dumb.
it was a perfect story. It's a perfect ending. The acting was perfect. The production was perfect. 10 out of 10. Let it just be what it is. You just don't need to cash cow the thing into a beaten down nothing. I mean,
Well, the showrunner said, hey, this is not one of these things. We're not going to do it. And they backed up a dump truck of money. He goes, actually, it's crazy. I just found script 2.
Come to think really about it, we found in James Clavell, we sent Geraldo Rivera down to James Clavell's basement, found a vault, emptied it out, and sure as shit, Shogun Volume 2.
You're dating us right now with this.
Was amidst a pile of 1960 Playboy magazines and, the 1950s edition of Encyclopedia Britannica. Crammed between the L and the M was Shogun Part 2, Volume 2.
And a manuscript of Doors of Stone was found.
And Doors of Stone.
It was no
It's
good,
there.
actually. I heard. I heard
It was
no good.
terrible. That's
Yeah.
why it didn't get released.
That's
They
right.
took one look at it. This is garbage.
Everyone, thank you so much for your congrats about the anniversary. Brent says, tuning in a bit late. Interested to see if Jimmy is reading any books I have heard of. Happy Friday. I am. I'm reading Will of the Many. I'm reading The Passage by Justin Cronin. That's kind of like on the background right now because I got to get some stuff done, but I'm very keen to continue it. And then I'm, of course, reading The Devils by Joe Abercrombie, which I really wasn't all that hyped for until about a day before the release when I actually read the preview chapters, and I'm really liking it. I'm so relieved, honestly. There's things I don't love, but as a whole, it just feels good to be back with Abercrombie, who's someone I really enjoy reading, just his writing in general. I'm one of the weirdos that I know Stephen Pacey's awesome, but I actually just prefer reading his books physically for some reason.
Same.
Yeah.
Same here. Yeah, same here.
See, that's why you're a Chad. That's why you're the man, Brian.
Seriously. All the first law books up there, I sight read those. I have ears. I could be listening to Stephen Pacey. I actively chose not to. I wanted to read what he wrote.
The kids would say that's very based, I believe.
You know, the kids would call, what do they call me? A boomer, maybe? Even though I'm not.
A skibbity toilet. I've been really getting into the brain rot terms lately. I really like it.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
Library of Alexandria says, I hate you, Jimmy. Oh, wait a minute. This is your show. I'm not supposed to be reading the comments.
He just showed up. I'm back on the comments as usual. So I'm going to assume he tuned in whenever I was dunking on his channel at the perfect time.
Could be. It could be.
Oh, Samwise. Okay. Samwise says there are things on Earth that were planned in chapter 2 of Shadow of the Torturer. The story was always in his mind, if not always on paper, like very specific minded details that are set up. Okay. And Future Sunrise said he started writing Earth towards the end of original, so he wasn't really, I assume, forced. Okay.
Well, that's okay. That has to give us a little bit over the hump of this wasn't his idea.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. It's not going to keep me from reading it. Like, for instance,
right?
If Shogun season 2 is great, I'll watch it.
They better have lightsabers.
Yeah, I hope, and maybe
if they
some
pull out
golden
those katanas,
golden snitches, possibly. Dark
absolutely. If they have golden snitches, I'm in. I'm in. Say no more.
Yeah, that's what I said. I said, sign me up. I mean, golden snitches, robot horses. We could do some crazy stuff in Shogun too, because it doesn't need to exist. But here's the thing. I am certainly pessimistic about a season 2. What I will not do is damn it before I see it, though. Right? Like, I'm not going to say, oh, it's going to be terrible. It's more just that whole can't leave something good enough, because season 1, which I've only watched, I think, the first 2 episodes of, because I'm terrible at watching television. Everyone liked season 2 or season 1. Yeah, it could have just been that and been a great miniseries. Yeah. I mean, look at Chernobyl, right? HBO. Yeah. Say what you want about HBO. They have David Zaslav's an idiot, but I think that they know when something is kind of run its course.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes they prematurely pull the plug.
I was about to say Deadwood. Yeah, for sure.
Right. Oh, that's probably the biggest one for me. Yeah. But that's the exact right time to end it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sometimes it's better. I always say, you want to leave before your welcome's overstayed, which, I should take that advice for my YouTube channel, honestly.
Oh, same here.
I think it's pretty clear. It's time to move on.
90 days in was my peak.
That honeymoon phase didn't last too long.
I peaked at 3 months, and I go, wait a minute, this guy's over 50? Shit, I gotta turn this dude off. I'm gonna turn into my father. I'm like that dude on the insurance commercials. Don't turn into your parents, right?
Yeah. So, the lit RPG needs life alert. What is it?
That's right. One of these days I'll have the necklace on, right? And if I fall, I can hit the button and it'll be perfect.
I would love that so very much. I would adore to watch you have a bad spell. I think that would be fantastic.
It's got to be coming out of the hot tub though, and it's got to be filmed, because that has happened before. Outside the hot tub room, there's a hardwood floor, and I came out of that sucker one night thoroughly in the bag. Forgot it was slippery hardwood floor and just face planted. I wish it was recorded. It would absolutely be my opening animation for every video. Just boom.
I would love to see you hit that grand piano that you have. Just face off some keys. Boing. It would be great. I think it would be good.
I need to do it. And it was funny because yesterday we were on John's stream and they were talking about the show Severance, and I almost got up and started playing the theme to it, because the piano's like 10 feet away that way, right? So I was like, oh, maybe I'll go just secretly go play Severance in the background. I was like, nah, it's gonna get hit by the DMCA, so maybe I shouldn't do that.
Well, it's on John's channel. We need to slow him down. I think you're you know, you
Oh
need to
my
learn.
God.
You need to learn these things.
What an opportunity! What a mismanaged opportunity to chop someone off at the knees.
Oh,
I
go on
gotta
someone's
follow
channel
you
and drop
more.
the F-bomb just to
Yeah,
demonetize.
just for that. Damn.
Yeah, more for me.
Yeah. God. I bow at the feet of the master.
That's right. That is right. Fantasy Fanatic said, I'm about 100 pages into The Devils, and I have to admit I'm struggling a bit. Yeah, you're not the only person. I've seen a lot of people come away with it not loving it. I think for me, it's been a minute since I read some First Law. It's been a couple years, and I've been wanting to reread, but I kind of held off to see what The Devils was about. I will say this, Fantasy Fanatic, and I can't remember what page counts what, and there's different editions, whatever. I thought that the end of part 1 was where I went, okay, I'm in. I was kind of still like twiddling my thumbs, like, what are we doing here? End of part 1, I was like, okay, that's some excellent scene to end on. I thought it was great.
I got to get to that book. I was planning to do it, and my TBR has been all over the place. So they call me Unk. See, he would know what the high school kids are calling men of, a certain age, I suppose.
Yeah, he said my students teach me slang and make me a Quizlet called Walker's Rizlets. Brett said, good news, Jimmy is reading books I've heard of. I have, and some of them are even good, which is always...
I mean, it's a new year. It's a dawn is rising.
That's right, man. That's right. Tom said he started Chernobyl yesterday. Have you seen Chernobyl, the miniseries?
I have. Yeah, when it came out. Yeah.
It's absurdly good.
Yeah.
It's too good.
And I wasn't even that excited to watch it, but it was great. So, yeah.
Yeah, I've looked into it a lot. Like, that's something I've watched a ton of videos about, I've read about. And so I wasn't super... I was like, I'll probably watch the first episode. And then I kept watching it and my wife works in safety. So she's like, oh, this is fascinating. Right.
Yeah.
That's her Super Bowl in many ways. So.
Chernobyl. Oh God.
Jimmy sounds like he doesn't like Will of the Betty and doesn't prefer listening to Steve. It's not that I guess you could say I don't prefer listening to Steve Facey, but I do acknowledge his greatness. It's just like, I don't know. There's something about Abercrombie's reading. I do think when I do reread a First Law, I will just listen to all of the audio books. And I did do the Age of Madness trilogy. I think I did most of that on audio. I'm pretty sure. But I made it through the first 2 books of the first trilogy, just eyeballing it until people told me I should try
sure.
out. Yeah. Life Alert's Brian's new channel sponsor. God, I hope. God, I hope. That ad would be amazing.
It'll probably, I mean, it would be, but John would probably, I'd have to make sure that John gets one too.
Yeah, Matt on Book says my overall impression of the prevailing opinion of The Devils is meh. Yeah, I think there's a good chance that could be, but it's, Abercrombie is subtly very, very popular. And I say subtly just because he doesn't do like huge numbers on BookTube or anything. And I don't see a ton of discourse outside of just like this niche. So I'm sure if you go look at the actual ratings on Goodreads, it's like When in Truth got, I would say, pretty negative online reviews. But if you go look at the actual ratings, like it's pretty high. So it's all dependent on where you are, I guess. But for me, I'm not going to let the internet ruin this one for me. It was nice to be reading a book and having a good time in a period of my life where I just am not having a ton of fun. So
yeah. Well, the other part of it too is that, if you've read all of First Law, you have so much more context. I mean, you know the whole story. Yeah. And if you can think back to the first 30% of the Blade itself, it wasn't like blowing anybody out of the water. I mean, the Glocta scenes were cool, but nobody was going, oh my God, this is the greatest book I ever read 25% into the Blade itself before they knew the context of the trilogy and then, the other 6 books or so. So I think regarding The Devils, knowing that it's a book 1 of a trilogy, I'm going to definitely give it some grace as I go through it. Cause I remember at the beginning of First Law going, okay, I like it enough, but I don't get the gigantic hype until I finish the book. And then it's a top 10 series for me. But
and if you look at A Little Hatred, I think that's a much better beginning to a trilogy, but it still does have a lot of that groundwork has been built up and trust earned and all of that stuff. And
for sure.
Dan from Blue Collar Reader, this is kind of what I was feeling. He said, I'm kind of worried I might not like it. I've read a bunch of like different authors since reading him and my tastes have changed a smidge. Mine have changed tremendously. I mean, I remember when I went back what was it now, 2 years ago when I did the Song of Ice and Fire reread, I was nervous, man. Like I was like, oh, maybe I won't love George as much. And I did. Now, with that said, I don't think that's going to be the case for every reread I do. I know there's stuff that's not going to age well in my mind, which is maybe why I won't even reread it. I was worried. I was like, maybe Joe is too much of one thing, right? He's, sarcastic. He's a little pessimistic. But for me, it kind of, I feel about Joe Abercrombie how some people talk about like Dresden, for instance. Like I just feel at home when I go there. Well, when Joe Abercrombie is just shooting giving somebody a good slacking, I just happen to love that quite a bit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He definitely has a unique style, and I like it. I mean, I think if you like it, you like it.
Yeah. His biggest issue, and my friend John said this, and I actually agree with it. I think his biggest issue has always been setting. I think he has some examples where he does it really well. Red Country's great. I thought The Heroes was pretty great in setting, but I've never felt like he's one of these guys where he makes a world that I'm just like, man, I can feel it. And now the state of the world, I think he's pretty good at. The climate of the world, meaning that like, the temperature, how bad are things getting? He's decent at that, but he's never really inspired me too much. And actually the things in First Law that I think he does set a decent setting for, that has no payoff, which kind of sucks.
But it's on a meta level. I kind of like it. It's like he's exploring this stuff and but then we're never going to talk about it again.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
The world building there. But yeah, I agree with you. Heroes was cool, even though the world of the world building was such a tiny little area that they're fighting over, but it was still, you could absolutely feel like you were there. In Red Country, that trek through the wilderness, same difference. But I will agree with you for sure. Specifically in the first trilogy, there really was no world building at all.
Well, the Maker's house is pretty cool. That's the thing.
That was very cool.
I wanted more of that. Like I was like, oh, let's just do this forever. And Abercrombie's like, I don't really want to.
We're never going back to it again. It doesn't exist anymore.
I've talked with
it's kind of like when Logan was talking to the fire spirits in chapter 2 or 3 or whatever. And then fire spirits said, "We're out of here."
There's in many series there's little stuff like that, like George changing the gender of horses, and of course we've been so long without a book in the series. People are like, maybe that meant something. And he's like, no, I was just an idiot. It's okay. Yeah, I mean that's how damn bad we are. But I think those little inconsistencies, that's the human element of writing. I remember Erickson talking about how when he's like connecting things back, he's like, I can't remember what happens in this book at some point. Like I have to go back and think about it. And Tad said the same thing. I mean, there's a lot of words. And sometimes I think it just kind of comes out.
Well, we know if The Winds of Winter comes up and the first point of view is from Dennis Targaryen, we'll know he is forgotten.
He's forgotten the face of his father.
He's forgotten the face of his father. He's forgotten his own characters. But I'm going to be there for Dennis Targaryen because, he's had a tough go of it.
Yeah, I mean, he's been sending me, a check every month to support him, so I have to. I'm actually under a contract. It's not good. It's not good.
He hasn't made a surprise call on my channel in several months. I had to see if I can
That's my fault.
That's you. Oh, you should have known. I should have known.
Yeah, I'm trying to get him to quit sending checks to Bookborn, but
Jimmy nuts.
It ain't working.
Oh yeah, good. Yeah, good luck with that, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
My God. Justin has a cool question. He said, how do you feel about Gen Z starting BookTube channel? I think it's a phenomenal thing, man. I do not subscribe to any generational feuds or naysaying, because the way I look at it is if Gen Z starting a BookTube channel means they're reading, and that's pretty great, especially as literacy rates are alarming, to put it mildly, I would say. So fully support young people getting into reading, getting online, sharing their stories. And hey, let's be honest, like when we were at their age, that's a tough age to be at, especially coming out, getting into the world. It sucks. And for them to connect with people, hopefully, that are reading as well, I think that these are the kind of connections that can last a lifetime and be really, really helpful during like formative adult years. So I'm all for it, dude.
Absolutely. And especially if they're choosing books, because I've got friends of mine that have kids that are sort of teenage years right now. And you ask them what they want to do when they get out of school or college or whatever. And some of them are talking about, oh, I want to be a YouTuber. I mean, that's flat the quote. And I'm like, well, no, you don't really, but that's cool.
Years are over.
yeah. It's it's cool that you're thinking that, and it's cool that you're thinking about books. So all for it. Yeah. Answer
Yeah,
that
I mean,
question.
there's always content that I don't necessarily care for, but somebody cares for it. That's all that, I mean, really
Hmm.
dictates success or whatever. So Brent has a thing, and it's kind of where I'm at. He said, for me, the Devils so far, it's all about the characters and inner monologues, which are fantastic. I don't even care about what they are doing. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of me. I'm just saying, you know what? If I'm if I'm just nodding my head along and having a good time, that's kind of where I'm at, and I'm fine with that. I don't care.
Hmm.
You know, I don't care. Gavin said, despite DNFing the Devils, I'm still intrigued to try more Abercrombie. I think that that's fair. I don't think I would judge him as a whole on the Devils, but The Blade itself is also a first book that a lot of people struggle with. So it might require a little bit of pushing through, but there's a lot of books to read. So who knows if it's worth doing or not. It'll just
Right.
depend.
Right.
What are you reading?
I mean,
right now?
but the Blade itself does have Logan, Nine Fingers, and Glocta. So I
Pretty
mean,
legendary.
right. So if there's anything that might save Gavin differently than his experience with the Devils, it's two of the most iconic characters in fantasy. What am I reading? I'm reading two books right now. One of them is this, Rivers of London
That cover is
by
cool.
Ben Aronovich.
Okay.
Yeah, the cover's good.
Oh no.
All right, so I think Sarah Beth is in the chat. So one of our patrons, Sarah Beth, sent me this book as book mail as a gift, and I am so appreciative of her for doing that. And she sent it because I think she likes the series and she knows I love urban fantasy, and this book is urban fantasy and it is set in London. Mike happens to be reading the book simultaneously at the same time, and he texted me yesterday or a couple of days ago saying, "Is this book very ultra British to you?" And I wrote him back saying, I think this is more, what did I say? It was either more British than Discworld. And he wrote back saying, I think it's more British than Doctor Who. And I said,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I think, yeah. So, Sarah Beth, it's not that I hate it. I promise you I don't hate it. But I don't DNF. And because she was so kind enough to send it to me, I am reading this whole thing because I'm hopeful that there'll be a payoff at the end. I'm a third of the way through it. It just started to get a little bit interesting to me right around about page 115, 120. So I've not lost all hope on the book. I just hope that it would start a little bit stronger.
Brian,
especially because it's, yeah.
Can I give you some advice?
Yeah.
DNF.
DNF.
DNF. It's fine. It's okay.
So let me ask you a question. When I close my eyes tonight and I'm thinking about life and the big Jimmy head pops in, zoomed in, telling me to DNF.
So are you alluding to my gigantic forehead?
Oh, hey, man, I got you right here, brother. We want to do a forehead off.
You could put us together and make a basketball court.
Absolutely. Olympic size swimming pool, folks. We got all your athletic needs right here on the Fantasy Network. Like and subscribe.
It's a pain to not make it shine. Like my shit's shining tough right now. Look at this.
I don't even like. Hey, if anybody's even tuned into me, I'm happy about it. So look at that. Look at that. That's a good look.
Look at this, man. Look at this. That's a good time to transition. Bam. Look at this. Look at this full screen. This looks like a podcast.
This actually looks like we're in the same room together, which would be so great because we'd have that live energy.
That would be great. Hey, shout out to you for turning your monitor the other way so that we look like we're at least facing each other. That's very kind of you.
Well, I'll send you the bill from my chiropractor for schlepping the table from over on that side to that side.
Is his name Stevens by chance?
It is Stevens.
All right.
It is
I like
Stevens.
to hear that.
Yes. Sometimes he goes by Stefans, but usually Stevens. You got it.
This is one of the best comments I think I've ever seen. Follow Smoke says, I DNF the drop of the hat, fuck around at all, and you're in a free little library. Oh my God.
That is fantastic.
Bo Clocks is very British. That is true. That is true. Jimmy, that's so rude. Wait, which part? The shiny forehead part?
I don't know.
Listen, we know. We know.
But seriously, thank you, Sarah Beth, because I mean, anybody who would send me a book, even if it's not my favorite, is awesome.
Well, hey, you have some sins to answer for. Evie said, I'm sure I sent you Dandelion Dynasty before. She sent you Rivers of London, Brian. When are you reading Due Diligence?
Due Diligence is on the TBR. It's probably right after Earth of the New Sun with Jimmy Nuts of the Fantasy Network. Pretty excited. See, exactly.
Oh my God, you guys have big heads.
Thank you, Anitha.
Thank you.
I mean, what do I say to that? Just respond with it's just, do you have any idea how much nonsense is lodged into this big head of mine? You can't contain this level of nonsense without a skull large enough. Just it can't be done.
I hope they're on ultra wide monitors because they're not going to be able to fit these craniums.
Oh, it's gonna be great, dude. Next time we should make this the double monitor size. That would be chef's kiss.
We look like Godzilla's testicles.
Really? Can I be the one that hangs a little bit lower?
We might not be scaly enough for that. We need more sun damage, I think.
All right. Trip to Arizona. Speaking of Sarah Beth, she's in Arizona. We'll just cruise out there, get little, yeah. I love how this show can go off the rails just as easily as mine. It's terrific.
No one's here for anything else, I don't think. So when are you reading Dandelion Dynasty, though? Seriously, let's not dodge the hard questions here.
Next year. There's no way.
That's what I do too. I always say next year.
Next year. I mean, but I actually mean it. So there's 2 series that I have to read that are on the next year pile. One of them you're going to say absolutely it has to be, and it is the Tad Williams Dragamon Chair Memory Sour and Thorn. I've not read any Tad Williams at all, so that has to happen. The challenge is that I'm also reading Wars of Light and Shadow and Malazan right now, so so I don't want to start throwing in Tad Williams and Dandelion Dynasty until they're both done. So, see, best chatting with nuts ever. Excellent.
That's what we try to do. I mean, dude, you're tackling some monstrosities here.
Yeah, I mean, every other month I'm doing Wars, Light, and Shadow and Malazan.
I mean, those are the boogeymen under the bed of TBRs.
I fear no book. I fear no book. I try to tell people on the channel, all kidding aside, they're just books. Nothing's that difficult unless you're reading whatever Jared's reading. If you're reading whatever Jared's reading, you don't understand it, well, then join the crowd. But it's, that's the size.
Brent said, you guys special ordered those headphones. I am stretching out these Audio Technas, let me tell you.
Custom.
They're custom. It's actually 2 pairs. I glued them together.
Exactly.
Which is a great time to plug Brian's new product that he's pushing out, which is Bell Glue.
Bell Glue. Absolutely. You too can drink it from a That's a Fact Rick Thunder pint while you're applying Bell Glue to all of your adhesive needs.
Dude, show him that glass. Look at this. That's a fact.
That's a fact.
There
are actually Rick Thunder coffee mugs, shirts, and hats in my merch store that people actually order and drink with the Rick Thunder image on the coffee mug. I might have to send you one. I might have to send you a Rick Thunder coffee mug for appearing on Chatting with Nuts. I think I need to do that.
I would beg for you to do this.
You're getting one. I'm sending you a Rick Thunder coffee mug, possibly a pint glass. You might get the whole Rick Thunder collection.
Oh, are you going to send me a care package? A Rick Thunder care package?
You might get the Rick Thunder care. The funniest part is so I designed these Rick Thunder hats, right? And I'm thinking he's got the red jacket. Let me get the red baseball hat. I get the sample in the mail and I'm like, oh my God. I've just alienated at least half the people or more.
Yeah, we can't be doing all that. I can't at least 20 years.
I can't be rocking the red baseball hat with my channel. It's not going to happen. So yeah, Rick failed again. What can I say?
Rick, not full of ideas, but full of moxie. I like the cut of his jib.
Oh, his jib is cut wide.
There is a strong jib on him. A little hang time on that jib.
There is. And you're never quite the same spending time with him. You're never, he comes over here and I leave for the better, I think, but certainly have changed. Yeah.
Yeah. And you always feel like you have it more together than him, which is always kind of, that's why I bring Alan on the channel so often. I bring him on Chatting with Nuts so often just so I can feel a little bit better about where I'm at.
Rick Thunder is my version of your Alan. It makes sense now.
JCM Burns says Thunder and Nuts sounds like a pretty good heavy metal band name. I would agree. I think Thunder and Nuts would also make for a decent tag team.
Absolutely.
More
Well, I'll tell you what, when you run out of guests for your shows, if you can scrape together enough money to get his attention, and it's not cheap, but if you could get his attention, I can see if I can work out a deal where you can get Rick Thunder to come on Chatting with Nuts. I don't know how long of a time you'd get with him. I doubt he would do a normal length Chatting with Nuts. He's quite expensive.
I've heard that.
Yeah. But he might come on. He might surprise you.
Listen, I've brought on a lot of big names. I mean, I paid Gavin's appearance fee. I've had Murphy's appearance fee, Alan's appearance fee.
You can't even afford Bookborn anymore.
No.
Forget that's out of your league at this point.
Yeah, at this point, it's a wrap.
Yeah,
but I'm happy that we had memories while it lasted. I think that's important. We talked about that. You got to cherish the memories. Yeah. Talking Story says you're not quite the same due to the contact high. Fair enough.
With Rick? Oh yeah.
Yeah, with Rick. Yeah, he's on that loud. He's on that big loud. So you got BellTube, you got Bell Flask, you got Bell Glue. What about Bell Lube?
For tires. One time. For tires.
Yeah. What'd you think I was saying? What did you think?
Well, I was going to tell you about this time at the club when I found like this size of lube. I don't know why.
Was Diddy there?
I don't know. It might have been the night Coolio was there.
Don't tell me you were having freak offs, Brian. Now, come on.
It wasn't me.
Oh my goodness.
It's like Shaggy. It wasn't me.
So you said you're reading two things? Were you reading two things?
So,
okay. What was the other thing you were reading?
Yeah. The other thing I'm reading, I'm liking even less, which is sad.
Gavin said, I've been in need of some Bell Lube.
I'm buying the website right now, Gavin.
Jerry said I don't charge Jimmy for appearances. It's a tax write-off, like a charitable donation to a sick kid or something.
See?
I am very sick. This stream is the freak off of BookTube.
Oh, absolutely.
When my vein starts coming out of this gigantic six head, that's when you know I'm having a good time. What's the other thing you're reading? You're not liking it?
The other thing I'm reading. Okay, so it is book 5 in a series called Arcane Ascension by Andrew Rowe.
Sounds bad.
It's called When Wizards Follow Fools. Not a bad title for a book, though. I kind of like the title. You don't like the title. I like the title.
It's doing a lot.
It is kind of doing a lot, and the book is not doing a lot for me, which sucks because the first 4 books are great. And
is this first 4 books
not really. The first book, I've always described it as sort of book 1. It kind of is a little bit like Lit RPG, a little bit more fantasy. It's much more into the fantasy now at this point.
Okay.
So not really. However, there are, if you think like the BellTube freak offs, right? If you are into artificer magic, like Kvothe or whatever he was doing, not a bad title. He says after the worst title he's ever heard. This is why we do these events, you guys. This is why he is the Friday Night Delight. For real.
So some artificer magic.
So if you're into some
riveting stuff,
magic,
Brian.
Isn't it? Oh, see, now that is a Philip Chase worthy pun. Let me tell you. But it's drilled down. If you think Brandon Sanderson has hard magic, this dude is harder than Brandon Sanderson. You can copyright that. You can put that as the quote on the stream. This dude is harder than Brandon Sanderson.
So hard that you might need a gallon of Bell Lube.
A gallon of Bell Lube. Available now in the merch store.
Yeah, it's down below. Why does everyone always point?
It's way...
Right? I hope one day YouTube changes the format and puts it over here. So everyone that did this just...
Alan will lose his shit. If YouTube puts the description to the right, left, or
link
up.
Link to the Discord down below.
Yeah, nah. Alan will be done.
Let's get down to business. What business, Alan? What business? Business is not booming here in this corner. Tori Talk says, I can't stay but popping in to say you guys are awesome. Have a great chat.
Thanks, Tori.
Thank you, Tori. Appreciate that very much.
And her new book's coming out, I think, next week.
I feel like Tori has a new book out all the time. I mean, I know that's not actually true, but like she be writing. She be
Yeah, it's
writing.
good too, and I've read it, and it was so weird. She asked me to be an alpha reader for her Cold Silver for Souls book, and Harder Than a Mormon. That's not see. I can't even we're never gonna talk about anything serious on this. This is why
Continue, Brian.
chatting with us is the greatest.
You know what it is? You know what it is? It's the layout. We got to get back. It's too intimate.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah,
Oh
now
my
now we're
God.
back.
I,
Now we're back.
okay, but so you got to remember to zoom us back in next time next time you feel like we need to go off the rails. That'll be the cue to me to absolutely just pour it in.
Intimacy cams. I like it.
The intimacy,
Yeah.
the bell cam.
Yeah, the bell cam. That's right. The ring my bell cam. I love that.
Absolutely.
All right, so continue. You were praising Tori's books?
Yeah, so I'm reading Cold Silver for Souls, and it is really good. It's a Western fantasy with a necromancer first-person protagonist, and she asked me to alpha read it, and I've never alpha read a book for anybody before.
Would you say you're more of a beta?
God, we should have been zoomed for that one. Do it again. Line.
Okay.
Line.
Would you say you're more of a beta reader?
Well, I think you would have to ask former partners. Now zoom back out.
Okay. I'm more of a Sigma reader myself.
Sigma reader?
Boom.
Okay. Very good. Very good. I like it. Omega reader.
Yeah, check out my Sigma boot camp down below.
It's in the description. Along with links to the Discord, Patreon, and all the other good stuff.
Yeah, it's optional, but always appreciated.
Oh, always. So, okay, what the hell was I even talking about? Oh, so Tori's book, yeah. So she asked me for comments and stuff, and I was like, I don't know what to tell you. What do I know about writing? And the only thing that I wrote her back was she put Andrew, from Andrew's Wizardly Reads into the book, and he's a bartender.
Wait, what?
And yeah, she just put a bartender named Andrew who was reading a book. And the only note I gave back to Tori was I said, you need to change this line to he's reading a book, comma, that he would not finish, period. And then go to the rest of the story. That was my only input. That was my only input into the entire story.
I think my input would be just don't ask booktubers for feedback, because honestly, none of us know what we're doing.
True. Totally true.
Or maybe that's just me.
I mean, Philip probably does, and Jared is an academic. He knows probably, but I mean, the rest of us who've never written anything, I mean, come on.
Yeah, mine's more of a mindset. It's more of a mindset. Yeah. Jimmy does cold plunges between pages every morning, bro. Every morning.
Nice. I was thinking about doing a float. Have you ever done the float therapy before?
Oh, you mean a deprivation tank?
No, well, I don't think it's they have them both inside tanks and just in the open, where they put several 100 pounds of Epsom salt in the thing. It's a foot deep, but you float on it, and there's no lights, and there's just no music, no sound, no nothing, and you just hang out for an hour.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm not buying it.
It's supposed to relax your nervous system. That was the whole reasoning for it, and I got people that swear by it, so I think I'm going to try it this week. I'll let you know.
All right, I'll tell you what. Live stream it.
I live stream myself naked in the float tank.
Yeah, it could just be to me. That would also be fine.
Oh my God.
Tori says, I'll make sure you're a beta reader next time if that makes you more comfortable.
See, there you go.
Sigma, only thing I'm thinking about a float is a root beer float. Am I right or am I right?
Oh my God, you're so right. I love your G-rig. Yes! Now that is camera direction production, folks, at its finest.
The intimacy coordinator, as JCM Byrne dubbed me. None of us writers know what we're doing either. JCM speaking cold, hard facts. Cold, hard facts. I will say Tori's title for her book is rather good.
Cold Silver for Souls?
Yeah, that's a solid title. I like that one.
Yeah, and Cold Silver is part of the book. I mean, it's not just a cool title. Cold Silver is kind of what they're looking for. So it's all right.
Dan says, I've done root beer float therapy. You ever had a Coke float? It's pretty good as well. And Mike said, I'm kind of scared to Google what a float is. That's a risky work Google, as I heard someone call. I've never heard that phrase before today, but someone said in my Discord, it's that's actually a really good saying. That's real. When you're at work and you're like, should I do it? Should have.
Yeah.
I guess you've worked for yourself forever, though. You don't know what I'm talking about.
True.
Did you just pretend to be relatable?
I pretend all the time. You know this. Um, I am so unemployable. I would actually every boss I would have, I would be fired in a day. Entirely unemployable. If I didn't know how to make income for myself, I'd be starving and dead somewhere right now.
If you didn't have
there's no
BellTube,
way.
you'd be out. You'd be out in a box
I would
behind
be.
Wendy's.
I'd have so much more friction in my life without BellTube. It's true.
Nerd Level Rising said, my girlfriend used to do those sensory deprivation tanks all the time. She loves it. I've always thought it'd be kind of interesting. The closest I've ever been was being absolutely hammered in Aruba and going out into the ocean at night. It was a full moon and the viewing's beautiful, and just kind of floating, which you shouldn't do. One, wasn't supposed to be out on the beach. Two, was intoxicated and got in an ocean. I was much younger. Terrible idea. Don't do that. I mean, if you can, you should do it, but don't do it, I would say. But it was amazing.
Was there a shark? Please tell me.
Oh, actually, ironically, yeah, there were.
Yes.
Not there at the time, but yeah, that was a real thing.
Oh God, I was hoping like there was a shark that came by and you didn't know what to do, and you ended up making friends with it, and you went out and had more cocktails, and then you didn't read Earth of the New Sun together. But that's awesome.
Sometimes I wish I would have just floated on out.
He could have just gotten on the Dolphins back and just tootled out to the ocean, and yeah,
not in the sunset, but the moonset, I guess.
Yeah, that's all right.
Does that work? Sure. That sounds like the beginning of a romantasy.
It's your show. I mean, I think you could call it the moonset.
Okay.
As the moon is setting on our channels.
Oh, it's a buddy. She been set. It's a wrap.
Exactly. I'm still trying to grab the moon. It's like, get your ass back over
I
here.
gotta pay YouTube to put my stuff up. It's not good. This is getting demonetized for sure. Mrs. Nuts says, then bringing all the sand back with you. I wasn't going to bring up this part of the story, but so I had been floating intoxicated in the ocean in Aruba, and I trekked back in and I had sand everywhere. So I went to use the outside shower outside of the beach. They have a thing you shower off. They shut it down. It's all green energy. Actually, funny fact, Aruba, I believe, has the cleanest water source and their own water source on the planet, which is pretty interesting. But they're really big about conserving energy. So I go back to the hotel room. I'm like, I'll get a shower. Shower ain't working. I called the front desk. They said, oh, we turn off the showers between 1 and 5 a.m. I go, oh, no. So I get in bed. Again, you got
sand all over you.
I get in bed. Mrs. Nuts is sleeping peacefully, and I bring in roughly a metric ton of sand to the bed.
Oh, my God.
And she was so mad.
Sand in the bed. Do you know what you would have needed to make that sand
go
more
away?
Tolerable? Huh?
Could you tell me?
BellTube.
Oh, I should have known.
I should have known. It worked for me.
And now it'll work for me next time.
That's right.
Christopher Nava says, Jimmy sounds like a sea-punk novel. I've never hated a phrase more than sea-punk.
Yeah,
all the punks are gone.
Yeah, that's worse than when wizards follow fools. I agree.
Yeah. Silk punk. That's whenever I drew the line. I say it's over, guys. There's no more punks.
Was there really a silk punk?
Dandelion Dynasty. People are like, it's more like a silk punk story. And I think I might have even said in my review, and I vomited after because I said, this is too much. It's too much.
Do I have to put this to 2027?
Yeah, you might have to. Yeah, might have to keep it down the road.
Silk punk might have to.
Yeah. Derry said, and you're having an anniversary, Jimmy. She bloody loves you. Well, who could not? Who could not?
Folks, is this not the most lovable man in show business? Right here. That's right.
I don't love myself, so I hope someone else does.
Right? Oh, but we do.
Yeah, and that's all that really matters to me.
I guarantee you, everybody who's watching this right now, all 6 of them are absolutely, they've been waiting for Chatting with Nuts. Regardless who your guest is, they're not here for the guest. They're for you. That's all, with all sincerity, I'm telling you. Half the time I have no idea who you have coming on, but I'm like, cool. I got a couple hours with Jimmy on a Friday night. Works for me. Hey. See, occasionally, folks, I can be serious and sentimental. Now I will go back to our regular scheduled nonsense.
Hey, I appreciate that because this, ironically, is also a place for me to go and get some human contact because I don't talk to anybody. So
Yeah.
it's kind of a problem,
Well, I mean,
especially currently.
I can
That'd be
relate
great.
to that in that I work from home too. And when you work from home and you get real isolated, yeah. See,
Gavin,
Gavin
Gavin's
cannot pull
still
his
here.
eyes away. I promise you, it's not me. It's him.
Yeah, I work from
Folks.
home, but I also like, I moved to a new area so many years ago,
Yeah.
but I just haven't had those like local connections. We have
Yeah.
one couple we're really good friends with. They're awesome. I love them to
Sure.
death, but I don't see them all the time. So it's just it's different. It's different. And also,
And
whenever
it's
you're 34, I mean, what am I supposed to do? Like,
Well, that's the whole thing. I was just about to say, it's like after you get out of your 20s, you stop meeting a lot of new people all the time, and you're sort of into the group that you're in. So
yeah,
I get it.
yeah. Someone Mindlin said nut punk, which is disgusting,
Oh
and
God.
for many reasons. There, I think a lot of people are here just for you. And
Uh,
StoryTube said it's the only thing even on the television. So
See, this was, I see. There's another channel. I'm going to go back to the 17 that I mentioned that I also love. My only challenge with StoryTube is the same challenge that I have sometimes on the Fantasy Network. Is I have no idea what books they're talking about, but I still love them a lot. Carlos and Yolanda are awesome people, so I support everything that they do, even though I don't know what they're reading.
I mean, so this is actually something I've always thought about. So for like BookTube, and you were a viewer long before you joined, right?
Mhm.
So when you were on BookTube, were you looking for people talking about the books you like, or were you looking for new reads?
Um, I was looking mostly for people to validate my opinions on the books that I'd already read to think if I was missing something or if they were as great as I did. And I found Mike's book reviews first was the first channel, and I just don't remember. I know he had finished Wheel of Time by the time I found his channel,
Hmm.
but I a lot of the books that he talked about that he liked, like Dark Tower and Wheel of Time, I also liked. So he became a huge resource for the books that I would go on to read. Sun Eater, Red Rising. I mean, the list goes on and on that he's influenced. But the second person that I found, nobody ever talks about, is Mark from Slowly Read.
Oh, he's the
Because,
man. How dare
yeah,
you? I talk about Mark all the time. He's
well,
posting
then
Sekiro Dark Souls videos now, and I'm loving it.
is he really? Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I haven't seen his videos, but I was looking up a Sandman Slim review and I saw Slowly Read and I was like, oh God, this is cool. I didn't know people actually got on and talked about books other than this Mike guy. Um,
yeah,
but but yeah, so I think now it's both. Now it's I
yeah.
want to know what my booktube friends think about books that I've read. And for the ones that I seriously align with, that 9 out of 10 times we like the same books,
Yeah.
then I want to read them. And it's like, even like with Cloud Atlas, for me, my passion for Cloud Atlas is different than yours, but I still love the book because of how brilliant of a work it is. Like, it's not my
Yeah, it's
favorite
different.
story in the world, but it's still way up high on my all-time book list because of just how incredible of an achievement that book is,
Hmm.
start to finish.
What's
I
unique,
don't know.
right? Like we read a lot of books, and
So
sometimes when something
unique.
comes across, and you're just like,
So
"Whoa,
unique.
I haven't really seen much like this." It stands
So
out.
unique and so
Yeah.
well and just so well put together. I mean,
Yeah.
there's originality and uniqueness, but then there's also massive skill level too that combines for that book. So, it's a book that's hard to recommend because I'm not so sure that the majority of people would really dig it or not, but
Hmm.
it's a masterpiece of a book, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's hard because I always
Yeah.
try to like temper expectations. I don't want a bunch of people. I don't want like 40 people run out and buy a book and then read and go, what the hell was this? So I feel like such a
Mhm.
responsibility to accurately represent it while also trying to relay just how much I really did love it. I mean, it's one of my favorite books of all time.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yeah.
but it's not going to be a hit for everybody. And that's kind of how I felt about reviewing Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison. Like, this is a book that is like
Mhm.
pretty difficult to get through because of the content in it, but also because of the way it's written. I mean, it's written pretty densely. I've heard her other stuff's way more dense, but it feels like Like, how do I relay this? So for me, what I tried to do with the video I posted yesterday was just what I got out of that book and what Toni Morrison was saying about it, and whenever she
Right.
reflected on it, and kind of what I thought of that execution in her opinion. So trying to kind of present it in that manner rather than being like, you have to read this thing. I think
Right.
I would hope by the end of something like that, at the end of like 10 or 12 minutes, that someone would be able to figure out whether or not it's something that they want to pick up or not. And I had comments actually. Some people were like, "Hey, really like this. I'm not going to pick it up because
Fair.
it sounds rough," and it is. It's very rough.
Yeah. I mean, I've got books that I brought for you. One of them I was going to recommend because I think you'll like this. Actually, I actually think you're going to like this book.
How dare you?
Um, what?
How dare you?
How dare I recommend a book to you?
Do you think I not have enough books to read, Brian?
This one you're going to like because he wrote for The Wire.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. I'll tell you what. I'll give it a shot. Let's see it. Oh, Lehane. I actually had this on my list of questions. I was gonna have you talk about your experience with Lehane, because Lehane came onto my radar probably last year because so I didn't know Shutter Island was a book, and I actually ended up buying it after I found out. But StoryTube, Dennis Lehane, Carlos and Yolanda are huge Lehane fans, and they've been talking about him since they've had a channel, I think. And they've been on, like, you're really gonna enjoy this. So I've picked up a couple of his books. I just haven't been able to dive into them yet.
That one was incredible. It's depressing as hell. I mean, there's nothing really great that happens in that book. It's kind of one bad event after the next. However, the dude can absolutely write a story with very deep, complex characters.
Mhm.
And knowing how much you like to show The Wire and just the general sensibilities of a crime drama, that book is just fantastic. It's easily one of the top 10 books I've read in the last year for sure. Um, it's very good, and I think it's something that you would like, just because
Oh,
I
I
think
will.
I know your taste a little bit, and I know you appreciate good writing, and he can
Yeah.
write,
Yeah,
no
I've
doubt.
heard that. I've heard that he's pretty much able to get you in to the story very quickly, which is something I always appreciate. I love
Mhm.
a good page one, as One Bite Book Reviews has shown. But Lehane's also very prolific in Hollywood. I mean, clearly Shutter Island was a huge thing. Mystic River was a
Sure.
thing. But Carlos told me about his show on Apple TV that's kind of went under the radar. And I'm so sorry. I think maybe it's called Blackbird. I think it has something to do with bird. But it's about someone who is serving, I think, a sentence for some sort of drug related charges. And they say, hey, we'll give you a deal if you are cellmates with the serial killer and you get him to tell you where the bodies are.
Cool.
I'm like, that sounds excellent. If you look up the
Yeah.
reviews for it, it's on Apple TV Plus. People say
Yeah.
that it's an amazing show. Like
Yeah.
it's so underwatched, which I know Carlos will be able to. I missed a bunch of
He'll
things.
remember which one it
A lot
was.
of people give him Mark love, which I love to see. But
Yeah,
yeah,
it's awesome.
this is a show. So he's been prolific in Hollywood, obviously, but as an author, pretty cool to see. The best thing about Shutter Island is I don't remember the twist. I watched the movie in high school. I don't remember the twist, so I'm going to read it and probably be surprised all over again.
I bet you I do. Same here. I watched the movie forever ago. I don't remember.
Yeah, I remember loving it. I remember going out of the theater and being like, this is a sick. It was like Shutter Island right into Inception, I think, was like a string of movies for me, and I loved it.
Got it.
So good.
Got it. Yeah, I think you're gonna have a really good time with that book in terms of just you as a reader not emotionally having a great time with it because bad things happen. It's crime drama. I mean, it's murder. So
I'm known to be kind of a sad boy. I kind of like getting messed up by a book. It's kind of my thing, right?
yeah, but you also really like complicated characters that have backstories that make them who they are, and he just brings that out completely, like, without big exposition dumps, just
Mm,
in watching what happens to, because they start off as kids and there's a time skip and then they're adults, and you see how they were as kids, why they became the adults that they did, and it's just
hmm.
phenomenal. Yeah,
Yeah.
really, really, really
Lahane's
good
also
stuff.
really good friends with Stephen King, I believe, right? Didn't he write an episode of The Outsider or something like that? And he's like
I don't
working on
know.
a King adaptation as well. Yeah, Lahane, I mean, he has kind of a hand in everything, it seems.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
remember Carlos telling me a bunch of stuff about Lahane. Like he had so much lore to dump, and everything he kept saying, I was just like, oh, there he is. He said Lahane is moving exclusively to TV now. Yep, Blackbird, which is the Apple TV show I mentioned, that
Okay.
is the name. Got a deal with Apple. He's also adapting his own novel, Small
Oh,
Mercies.
Kirk. Yeah, because that one
Yeah.
came out last year.
Yeah, he has. I mean, he has a ton of books too. I mean, not often do you see somebody who's that successful in books then also transition over after too long of a time. Like, I'm really worried that Stephen Markley is just going to go to Hollywood after I've loved his
Right.
two books, Ohio and The Deluge. I
Yeah.
would be so bummed if he just stays in Hollywood.
Screenwriting and that's it.
But I get it, because if you get a part of the Writers Guild, I think that becomes very beneficial to you. Like, you get a
Hmm.
lot of union rights and such, and it's kind of like
For
you made
sure.
it in many ways. So I
Hmm.
I get it. I
And
get it.
there's probably people that want to see their vision on visual, right? But they also
Mhm.
want their hand in doing it. So they're not just selling off the rights and maybe the thing gets made, maybe the thing doesn't. And if it does get made,
Yeah.
who's making it? Is it even resembling what they had in mind? So I can kind of understand why somebody would want to do that.
Yeah, one of the things that's interesting, I think, is as we see more books get adapted to TV. Obviously, it's been happening for a very long time. I would argue that most of
Mhm.
Hollywood's best stuff is adaptations from better books. But
The Ten Commandments.
it's, I mean, it doesn't get much better.
I threw out a Charlton Heston reference tonight, folks. That is a first on Chatting with Nuts.
I thought The Vault with Rivera was going to be the most
That was
dated
pretty good
reference.
too.
That was really
That's
good.
pretty good.
I watched
That
that
was pretty
live.
good.
I
Yeah.
watched that live, bro.
You were like 6 years old.
Yeah. So Jared said you get union health insurance if you're writing for screen. I know it's a really big deal for a lot of writers. Writing a screenplay is a dream of a bunch of writers I know for that reason. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
isn't that
actually,
crazy? That sucks.
Jared, I think you're the one who told me that. I'm pretty sure that's where I got the message from. It certainly wasn't from Wolf Hall, which, ugh, that book. But but with adaptation, I was going to say, like, you're talking about like who has control and this and
Mhm.
that. So we've seen a lot of people get upset about shows moving away from books, which is a whole conversation in itself. I actually wonder sometimes if an author having too much power could actually end up being a bad thing. And I wonder about this with like Sanderson, for instance. So
Mhm.
Sanderson has said he's taking Wheel of Time a bit like a lesson. Like, he
Mhm.
really wants to have some control whenever his stuff gets adapted. And and this is just my perception, but I
Mhm.
feel that he's a bit of a DM. Like, he wants to control things. He wants to be in
Mhm.
charge of it. He likes holding the secrets. He likes making these executive decisions, right? But when I hear him talk about adaptations and some of the changes he would make sometimes, I'm like, I don't like that. like, I actually
Yeah.
kind of hope that doesn't change, which I think it's admirable that he's like saying, hey, I'm going to a different medium in a different time. I would like to change some of these things up. I think that's good, because I'm not a believer that you have to follow every single word of a book. It is an adaptation for a different medium. It's just got to be different in most cases. But sometimes I wonder, I'm like, could there be such of a thing as too much creative control? For instance, George R. R. Martin in early Game of Thrones was upset by a very minor character being cut. I can't remember who it is. I
Mhm.
remember hearing Kyle talk about this somewhere. And it was like, I mean, it was a side character that I don't remember, which should give
Right.
you
So
enough.
that should tell us.
But George
Right.
is pissed. He wrote a blog post about it. And it's like,
Right.
so George maybe would have spent like 15 minutes on the side character that doesn't really,
Goes
pan
nowhere.
out. And it makes you
I mean,
wonder, like, sometimes they could be, I don't want to say a detriment, but they could have the wrong focus, possibly.
I think here's my take on that. People who write screenplays and people who are cinematographers and directors and actors have a different skill set. There's some overlap, certainly, but they have in general a different skill set than an author. And
Mhm.
they understand better than an author would, in most cases, how something translates from written word to our ears when we hear a sound effect coming through, or
Yeah.
lighting effects, and just all of these things that they don't know as an author, because an author learns all the tricks of the trade writing books. That author doesn't know the tricks of the trade, so to speak, of how to take a screenplay and give us that sense, use those other senses that we're not
Yeah.
getting in a book.
Yeah.
And I think where you make a very valid point is that if you've got an author that demands control but doesn't have that skill set really in their wheelhouse, then I really don't know what you end up with.
Mm.
So, like something like Blake Crouch is pretty good because I liked the show Dark Matter and I
Oh, you
liked
watched
the
it?
book. Yeah.
Okay.
And I liked the book. And I'm glad that he figured out where his skill sets worked and where to let other people do it. Same with, the author who shall not be named, Neil Gaiman, with Sandman. you know, he was very involved in producing that, yet he stood, not Sandman, I'm thinking of Good Omens. Sorry. With Good Omens, he knew when to step back and when to show run and do all that stuff. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So I don't know. That's my 2 cents on that.
That was a good interjection, I thought.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Finally.
I totally agree with you, especially about the census thing. Like, we have to do different things, because like inner monologues, for instance, usually don't happen in shows. Sometimes they do, and I always find it to be a little bit strange. But there's a lot of silent storytelling going on, which is really ultimately the show don't tell, actually, right? Like, you literally have to show the entire time, at least most of it, until they run the big exposition dump before Star Wars or whatever.
Right.
So
as it's going backwards and you're trying to read it. Yep. Got it.
Yeah. I think that there's an opportunity for fantasy and science fiction TV to go somewhere I don't think it's really been since like the 90s, which like He-Man, or not He-Man, but Hercules and Xena, which is a little more lower budget, a little bit more episodic. I don't even necessarily think it needs to be like super episodic, but I've been watching this show on Max, which I'm sure everyone else has probably heard of at this point, but it's called The Pit, which is an trauma emergency room drama. Have you seen it?
I have not.
Brian,
I need to see it.
It is insane. It is so good. First couple episodes, I was like, this is fine. I'll keep watching. By like episode 6 or something, I was like, okay, this is the greatest show on TV right
Really?
now. Like, oh, dude. First off, it's based in Pittsburgh, UPMC.
Okay.
And it is so accurate to southwestern Pennsylvania that it's insane. Like, they mention Altius, which is a restaurant in Mount Washington that me and Kelsey went to our first Valentine's Day together to. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, the fact that they're mentioning Altius and they're special, like, it was just kind of crazy. Giant Eagle is a grocery chain in southwestern PA. There's just a random person in the waiting room for a split second has a Giant Eagle uniform on. Like, just little things.
They get all the little details.
Yeah. And then when it comes to the dialogue and the characters and like how you're learning. So the way the season is structured, and I have a reason to connect this back to fantasy in a second. But
okay.
The way the season is structured, it's 15 episodes. First off, let's get back to those days. 15 episodes, and they're not 20 minutes. They're 40 to 58 minutes.
Yep.
And it is an hour of the day. So it's a shift in the hospital. It's a 15-hour shift in the hospital. Dude, they're like, think about it. You're watching almost 15 hours of television, and there's people who are in the waiting room from episode 1 all the way to episode like 10. And it's so funny to see them.
Oh, yeah.
But only an hour has passed, and it's just like rapid fire. So I love the format of the show. The urgency behind the show is, So here's where I'm connecting it back, kind of what we're talking about. I think the reason why The Pit, one, is kind of refreshing in many ways is, I lost Brian. Are you back?
Yeah, I don't know why.
Nah, it's fine. It does that sometimes. So the thing about The Pit that's
not
cool,
like I see myself. I see myself on camera, but I'm stuttering a little bit on the back end. I don't know.
It's fine. Just pretend it's not happening. Cool. Fake it till you make it is the advice I was given at WWE. Just fake it till you make it.
I probably gave you that advice as well. So
yeah, I think you did. I'm certainly usually faking it. So the thing about The Pit is 15 episodes. There's not going to be 2, 3, 4 years between the seasons. They're coming back. This just came out. They're coming back in January. So they're going to be back in January with the new season.
Very cool.
So we're talking about, instant gratification almost. Like, I'm going to finish this, talk about people, and then be watching the next season. And it's very small, right? It's like they're in one place for the most part. And it's all based on dialogue, and it just continuously moves. There's events happening within the profession, right? There's trauma going on. But if we need to find a fantasy show, I think that is a little lower budget, it's a lot more focused around the interpersonal relationships that are being stressed by the current situation there, whatever the conflict might be. And if you can do a fantasy show that can kind of captivate that same energy, low budget, and it doesn't take 2 or 3 years to come out, lower CGI, I think that's your next fantasy TV hit. I don't think it's the next Game of Thrones, whatever that is. I don't think that's
I agree.
So
I agree.
Here's a question. What show fills that?
Oh God.
Or what book? I'm sorry. What book makes that show?
Honestly, Discworld wouldn't be bad for something like that.
They've tried it though.
Have they? Oh, I didn't even know.
Yeah, BBC
I'm
did a
so
terrible City Watch adaptation that I
I'm gonna
heard was
say
just
not.
terrible.
I'm gonna say not Malazan. So
Yeah,
we'll
Malazin's
put a
out, obviously.
hard pass on Malazan. What would I say? Oh gosh. God, I don't know.
I
You
want
know,
it.
the Kings of the Wild wouldn't be bad for something like that too, where you could go relatively low budget and
Yeah,
it would be funny and it's very character driven. I think Kings of the Wild wouldn't be awful with something like that.
I
And you wouldn't
think
require any of this crazy CGI or any of that.
there's some stuff in there that they could
Yeah.
make some pretty cool. I'm trying to think of something that's a little bit more contained, like not a travel, right? Like one
Okay.
location, right?
Got it. Got it.
So
Got
I
it.
mean,
So,
I'll be honest with you. The first thing that comes to my mind, and I have a counter for this, is Farseer, actually, by Robin Hobb. Buckkeep, Buckkeep being that place.
mhm.
However, one, I think that the vibes of the environment are too samey to the medieval fantasy stuff that we're constantly seeing. And two, I don't think that it has those beats. I just don't think it has the beats. I think it'd be good, but it just doesn't have the beats I'm talking about, where there's some sort of intensity that is being derived from whatever situation they find themselves in. So what's like the closest thing to an emergency room in fantasy? I don't know what it is. Maybe Dresden. I saw someone say Dresden. It might be Dresden. It could
I
be
mean, they had a
Greenbelt,
they had a Dresden and it was horrible because it just was written terrible.
right?
Um, Greenbone, she had a deal and then they kind of bailed on it. I think yeah, it was either maybe Paramount
I think it was
or
Peacock.
was it Peacock? That's
It
what it
was one of
was.
the P's. I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah, it's Peacock, Paramount, Jade's. I don't know, but she
Yeah.
had a deal and then that kind of fell apart. But I think differently with that one. I think that's more along the lines of a bigger budget show, just because I think you could
Hmm.
do a lot with the traveling in the cities and all of that. But self-contained, that is an excellent question. And I don't know a great answer. Just even like looking around at some of the shelves, nothing's really jumping out because so many stories in fantasy and sci-fi involve so much travel and movement.
Oh yeah. I mean that is
I,
kind of the basis of the genre, is the adventure, right? Because it's a
yeah,
transformative experience, the coming of age, everyone loves so
right.
much. Now, fantasy's changing rapidly, and
Yeah.
there's so many different stories that have been told throughout the decades. I just wonder, like, if the show that I'm describing, which I am being egotistical and thinking that I have the answer of the next great fantasy show, obviously,
Mhm.
but we might not know what it is. It might not have worked so well as a book. Think about that. Like
It's true.
it could be
That's
something
true.
totally different. I think First Law, Brent said First Law. I did think about this. I
Mhm.
think that they could move some things around to make it a little bit quicker. I think that we
Mhm.
could we could make it a little less of a slow roll. But even the pit, the first few episodes, you're starting to shift. You're trying to figure out what's on the board, what rooms are filled with who. Like you're getting acclimated, even though you can sense this tension kind of building. And everyone there has had, it's not their first shift. Well, some of them
Right.
actually it is their first shift. But like the main characters, you can tell there's a history, and there's some baggage on these characters that see horrible things daily, and people that they love and care about
Sure.
dying. So it's just like maybe there's something out there that can have that sort of like gravitas of a more closed setting that's just super stressful. So hey, if you're a writer out there, write a fantasy ER.
Yeah.
There you go. I think
The
sci-fi
heal
is probably a better bet.
the healing hut. We've just invented the healing hut.
A cozy fantasy about a reformed warrior that's saving lives instead of taking them.
That's right.
Severian.
Exactly. Severian. And
Hey,
his sidekick, Terminus S.
S. Yes, he will
Terminus
sew
Beth.
you up.
No, Terminus Beth, the nurse.
Justice of Kings, I don't hate that. I don't think that they would be able to use like all the dialogue from the book or anything, but like, you got to think of it as a basis, not word
Mhm.
for word, scene for scene. I could see Justice of Kings working in that. I think it has a little bit of a more of a mystery, detective, justice feel to it. Obviously, Justice of Kings, but I think that could work. I would just love MASH, but fantasy. Brian, fantastic idea.
Yeah.
Fantastic
Yeah.
idea.
I like
You're
that.
just asking for the
Alex,
Legends and Lattes adaptation. You're not wrong.
I mean, Alex Verus would actually work. I mean, that's urban fantasy set in London. It doesn't travel to a million different places. It could easily be done lower budget like that. That'll be my official answer. And even though I know you haven't read the books, um, Alex Verus, I think, would be even better than Dresden for that type of a budgeted
Hmm.
show and still pull it off.
Yeah, because I'm thinking small budget, really
Hmm.
relying on great writing and the
Yeah,
presentation of the
yeah,
conflicts. Like I think
yeah,
that's how you succeed. And by the
yeah.
way, I think the networks are going to take more risk on something that doesn't cost them $150
That's right.
million every 2 episodes. We,
That's
we need
right.
to get away from that. I think at this point there's so many attempts at these things that it is why like the CGI is backed up because
Sure,
every network has that show. They're trying, and I get
sure.
it. But maybe we could dial it back a bit. Ironically, a KJ Parker, Anitha, I actually do think KJ Parker is writes somewhat of what I'm talking about, to be honest. I think that you could, again, change some stuff so it would be a little bit more exciting, but it might work. Senlin Ascends shows, I want to Ascends show so bad.
That could work.
That could work. I could see that. It's just something I've been kicking around in my head though since I watched The Pit, and I'm like, how do we get this to work for like what type of shows that we also want to see,
Yeah.
and what and then the
I
books that we love.
I'm gonna stick with my Alex Ferris answer only because he's trad published. He's got a big publishing house behind him, and there's only really like four main characters, and the big bads. There's a couple of them, and that's all you really need. It's not monster of the week,
Yeah,
so I think something like that would work. There you go.
yeah.
There's my official BellTube
That's
answer.
that's your
Brought
BellTube answer. That's what I'm going to
brought to you
continue to
by
think
BellTube.
about. So I actually thought about making a video talking. I talked about this with Matt because me and Matt talk about like obviously Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon and
Hmm.
stuff, but we also talk about just fantasy shows in general at times, like at the
Sure.
beginning of the show and HBO and what they're doing and David Zaslav and how big of an idiot he is.
Hmm.
And I'm always thinking about how we can make this work. I actually, ironically, I think Dunk and Egg could be that in many
Sure.
ways. It has been pushed back now to early 2026, which there's a whole bunch of speculation of why. Me and Matt went over that. You guys can go watch the Ben Needy episode where I did this topic in a much more condensed form over there. But I had a lot to say about that. Derry said a TV show, Motherland, Fort Salem, was an immediate favorite of mine, and it's based on a book that the author couldn't get published. Very interesting.
Cool.
You know what reminds me a little bit of this, just a little bit, is Wool by Hugh Howey, the
Haven't read
Silo
it,
series. Yeah,
but
so
but
I
I hear
love
that.
book
But
one.
okay, did you
It's
read the
contained.
rest of the books?
Contained, dystopian, of course,
Okay.
post-apocalyptic, but it's very tense and it's all in one place. And I can't imagine it was super expensive to make. And it's been a hit. I mean, I would say the show has been
Yeah.
much bigger than the book.
Yeah. I mean, people have told me that they like the show better than the books. Same with the exception of Tom Orange, who I saw in the chat. Same with Three Body Problem, is people have told me they've liked the show better than the books, except for Tom, because
I
Tom loves the books.
I really like those books. Three Body
Did you?
Problems. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean they're obviously not the greatest written thing in the world or whatever, but
Yeah.
the experience that I had reading it was pretty amazing, I would
Yeah.
say. So I think that I don't know. I think it could work. Maybe I think Silo is a good sci-fi example though.
Sure.
I would say that is kind of what I'm going for, and it has been a huge hit for Apple TV, by the way. I mean, it has
Yeah.
really catapulted
Apple
Hugh
can
Howey.
do so little wrong. I mean, I'm so in love with,
How much
Ted
time do you have?
Lasso, right? I mean, Ted Lasso and
Severance.
Severance. And I love Severance.
For All
And
Mankind, people
For All
love.
Mankind, another great one. I mean, Mythic Quest I liked at the beginning and not so much later, but yeah.
Hey, some of them are just not going to hit. It is going to
Yeah.
happen. I watched one
Yeah.
of their shows that got canceled and before it got canceled, and I thought it was pretty terrible. So it's good to know that I'm not missing out on every single show that they put out. But I will say,
Right.
I do think it right now. It's probably the best hit for hit
I think
streaming
so.
service at this point. Though
Most
HBO is
bang,
always good.
yeah, most bang for your buck. I mean, they have
Yeah.
way more hits than misses.
Hmm. And they're new.
For sure.
And a lot of people take a long time to get that first big show. I mean, I think Showtime has struggled for many years. I mean, Ray Donovan was great. There's been a
Hmm.
couple others, but they've really struggled. Whereas Apple TV is, I think, probably like most things, they take forever to get to the market, but when they do, they generally try to
Yeah.
come out swinging. JCM Burns said maybe something with some fantastical martial arts action, but based on a space station. Where could we get one of those?
I don't know. It'd be good.
Future
I
Samurai
like his
said, "I'm
books a
worried
lot.
about their adaptation of Neuromancer. It's going to probably be very different from the book, and I don't think that that
That's
might
not
not be a
bad.
bad thing. Yeah,
That's a good thing.
yeah, yeah. A Three Body Show was good because the characters were better. The characters are definitely better characters. I wish they wouldn't have
Yeah.
combined so many into that one. I'm already forgetting the name, but I do agree that the characters are far better. And shout out to the guy with Samuel Tarley, that actor in Three Body Problem, does a
Oh yeah.
fantastic job.
I just like him in general, but yeah, I have not seen it.
Yeah, StoryTube says Defending Jacob is a great limited series on Apple TV based on a great novel by William Landay. Chris Evans is in it. Very cool. Very
Captain
cool.
America.
Yeah, look at this. So you did a top 10 recently. To, it's your latest video
Today.
Yeah,
Today.
But you said something a little interesting, and I kind of wanted to get to. You said that anyone who doesn't like top 10s could kiss your ass, and I was wondering, was that directly aimed at Alan or not?
Yes.
Okay, I thought so, but you should just say his name next time.
Yes.
You had some surprises on there, dude. Like there's stuff that you've read I didn't realize.
You mean like that I'm still in the middle of, or that I've already read all of it?
That I thought you were caught up on, I should say. I also went back and watched your top 10 fantasy series of 2024, and I was also surprised there because you had read, like, I didn't know you had read Wheel of Time. I don't know why I didn't know that, but you have, which is a lot of books. Like, that's a lot.
I read them all back to. I read it 4 straight months. That's all I did was read. It was in 2021, and pandemic was going on. I had nothing to do. Nobody was buying my flask because there was nothing open. So I flipped a coin and I said, heads, it's going to be Wheel of Time. Tails, it's going to be Malazan. And it came up heads. So I just read the entire Wheel of Time from January 2021 to April 2021. That was it.
That stamina is remarkable, bro. I mean,
that's what
whatever people want to say. Yeah. Only with BellTube. Library of Alexandria says, I have done nothing to anyone.
Honest to God, I find Alan's channel, when you asked earlier about like who do I watch, I will watch Alan's sprints. I enjoy Alan so much. He is oh God, I love it.
You're really trying to sugarcoat it. This is great. The backpedaling.
Yeah, I'm making I'm the backpedaling on calling Alan out indirectly on my opener today. No, but he's so he's great. Big fan.
I know that you signed the deal with BuzzFeed as of today. And first off, congratulations. I think that they're not as big as they used to be, but I think BuzzFeed it's a mutual benefit. Like, you're going to benefit from them, they're going to benefit from you. And
for sure.
Is it time to reveal your first BuzzFeed sponsored video?
Well, I suppose I could. I mean, what they wanted me to do was the top 10 booktuber intros on the fantasy and sci-fi booktube channel, intros, the animations, just the cold opens, those types of things. They wanted me to do a top 10 for that. So that might be a good starting place because it's not too heavy of material. We're not going to rock the boat right away. We're going to get to know each other a little bit between, creator and company. And then I think from there, really, the bottom is the limit. So, I mean, a lot of people will say the sky's the limit, but in this particular case, certainly the bottom of the well can't be that far. So we're both very excited to drag our mutual, endeavors down into the depths.
Yeah. Like, what was finally going to tank the BuzzFeed empire? And it's going to be the BellTube thing. I mean, I personally was looking forward to. I know you guys have workshopped all this stuff, but the title you sent over to me, the beta watching that I did, and very rarely am I a beta, but I put 10 books in my butt, and you won't believe what happened. I think that's going to be a slammer of a video.
I put 10 books in my butt, and you won't believe what happened. Yeah.
What's the thumbnail going to look like for that?
Oh my God, we are workshopping that with a cast of dozens. It's there's so many different angles that have been presented. We also put it out on Fiverr, so several hundred people from across the world can submit their designs.
Sounds like a great use case for BellTube.
Oh my God. It's now, I mean, now that we've kind of workshopped that through our show tonight, that might have to be part of what we're doing. Absolutely.
Alan said, I have autism. I can't tell if they're being serious about BuzzFeed. And Future Survey said, I don't have autism and I can't tell if he's being serious. Will the word gaping be used?
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Dude, 10 I put $10 in my butt.
I put $10 in my butt. You won't believe what happened. And that's a fact.
And that's a fact, Jack.
And that's a fact.
Brian.
Yeah.
Brian.
Yeah.
As the lit RPG guru.
Uh-huh.
All right. I mean, you really are. No matter what anyone says, no matter what comments are deleted, doesn't matter. Okay. You
That's
are the
right.
guy.
Fair.
You
Thank
are
you.
the man when it comes to lit RPG.
I'm one of them, but thank you.
What do you feel right now with Dungeon Crawler Carl being everywhere? And I mean everywhere.
I like it. I have to say I like it. Even though it's fun sometimes to, honestly, I'm sort of like this. I'm glad we are entertaining the audience. That's actually going to be the follow-up video. It's called 10 Wasn't Enough? ? 10 wasn't enough? ?
JC Emerson said, never mind. Remind me never to borrow books from you, Brian.
Oh my God, his are in hardcover. So let me tell you something. Yeah. Oh, see, John, boom. Him and I are simpatico, no doubt about it. So asking about, let's see, this is excellent. To answer your question about Dungeon Crawler Carl, there are times that I like to find these hidden gems of books and savor them and hoard them, that I'm the only one that knows about them. Right. And I feel great about that. Dungeon Crawler Carl is not one of those, because I've been trying to get people into lit RPG for years and years and years. My first lit RPG book I read was 13 years ago in 2012. And I've read hundreds of them, and I've been trying to get people into the genre for a really long time. And Dungeon Crawler Carl has done for that genre really what nothing else other than maybe Cradle has, but now even more so. Yeah, DCC belongs to someone. All 7 books. I put all 7 books. You know what? And you know what? It would be great, because the title of the most recent Dungeon Crawler Carl book is called The Inevitable Ruin. That'll be part 3 of the Books in My Butt series.
The dungeon crawling out of your ass.
Right. The Inevitable Ruin. Then I'm going to be on an episode of Pitt. You love that callback.
Yes.
Everything out.
Dude, that was fantastic.
Thank you.
You're good at this.
I am here to entertain, folks.
I could stand the butt and loop talk, but I might have to nope out for the Dungeon Crawler Carl.
I like it. So, I mean, like I said, I like it. It's not overly lit RPG-y. It's not. It's a good place for people to start. If they feel like it, great. If not, they don't. Yeah, John's right. John, by the way, you're my emergency contact. So if I'm anywhere, south of, say, Missouri, they're calling you.
So maybe this is a good question to have. Now, I will say, by the way, it was like, which hipster thing's going to take off, lit RPG or KJ Parker? And it's like Alan invested in the wrong thing, right? He went with 1080i television. You went with the 1080p, and well, the rest is history.
Sony, it's basically VHS to Betamax.
That's what I was thinking. I couldn't remember Betamax. I'm such an alpha, I couldn't say it.
There you go, Betamax.
Yeah, that's you.
Sigma
You're
Max.
I'm Sigma Max. You're Betamax.
Betamax. Apparently, only owned a nightclub for 16 years and threw people out on a nightly. But sure, we'll do the beta.
Whoa, $6.90 for BellTube money. Slay, my brother. Thank you.
It's gonna be a hefty shipping bill, Slay.
Yeah, it's gonna be slippery.
I don't even know what we're.
Yeah, I'm saying you definitely latch yourself on to the right horse, right? Or the right trailer. What's the saying?
Yeah. No, I know what you backed the right horse.
Yeah,
is I think what you're going for. I backed the right horse. I would have done it anyway. it's just the truth of the matter is Jeff Hayes is the reason why Dungeon Crawler Carl is as big as
I
it
was going
is.
to ask you. I was like, what do you think?
If you take the audiobook out of the mix, Dungeon Crawler Carl is in just another list of amazing lit RPG, but it is not the sweeping internet sensation that it is. It's entirely Jeff Hayes.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously he has great literature to work with for what he's doing. He's, Matt Dittman had to write it first, but you pull Jeff Hayes out of that equation, or you have somebody else do the audiobook, and it's good lit RPG, but not completely genre blasting the way that it is. Speaking of genre blasting, I'll be on the next episode of Pit.
Yeah, that's right. And it's going to be a blast, let me tell you.
With my partner's BuzzFeed.
Yes, that's right. BuzzFeed. Man, we're going to get like a copyright strike for this one.
Everything. Oh, dude, come on. We're literally, as we're falling down the well, we are grabbing everybody we can and tracking them down with us. Love this.
We have Bob Does Sports, which is like my favorite YouTube channel ever now. We could have Brian Does Books.
Yeah, done.
Come on. Barstool, somebody's got to pick him up.
Yeah, exactly.
I do think you're right, though. I think the audio has a lot to do with it, and it just so much reiterates to me. Like when I see people, self-publishing or indie, I know it's expensive, so I'm not saying it like why wouldn't you do it, but I am saying, man, does it help if you want to catch on. I mean, if more people are doing audiobooks than ever before. My friend Amanda, who wrote Severed Echoes, which I genuinely love, whether she's my friend or not. I just thought the book was fascinating. I thought it was fresh. I thought it was awesome, right? I'm like, man, you got to get the audiobook. You got to do like you got whether it's yourself or somebody, and make it a performance, right? Make it be different, and that is, I think, integral to having success as an author, whether you're indie or not. I don't think it matters either way. I think audiobooks just matter so much more than they ever have before.
They do. People are on the go lifestyle, and if they want to be on a treadmill, or if they want to be driving to work or on the bus or whatever, where it's difficult to read, he couldn't stand the audio. See, there's always, John didn't like the audiobook either, but John also can't listen to audiobooks.
Well,
so
hearing aids in the headphones, they don't work.
Yeah. Exactly. Both ears.
You're right, though, on the go. I mean, so many people say, hey, I listen to it on my commute or whatever. And not everybody's going to be listening to 50 books a year or reading 50 books a year. So there's a lot of people out there.
And there are some books that just lean better to audio. I don't think I could do Malazan or Wheel of Time and keep track of all the characters and all the locations and all of that listening to it. I think I would just be sort of kind of lost. And the cool thing about DCC or a lot of lit RPG on audio is it doesn't require tons of focus. It's in your mind and you can hear it and you know what's going on. You're not trying to remember a million different names. So yeah.
So someone bounces off Dungeon Crawler Carl. And they're saying, I'll give lit RPG one more chance, Brian. What are you putting in their hands?
It depends why they bounced off Dungeon Crawler Carl. If they liked the humor, but they didn't like the setting all that much, and it was just kind of strange, I would say The Good Guys by Eric Uegland, because he's hilarious. He writes tons of humor into his books, and it takes place, it's basically a portal world where somebody from Earth gets transported to this other planet, and this is much more lit RPG than it is. It's more game lit than Dungeon Crawler Carl. So I would say The Good Guys by Eric Uegland for that. If they bounced off of it because they don't like progression elements, I would tell them you're pretty much out of luck, because you're gonna get that in pretty much, that's what lit RPG is. It's just a different scale of how much of the game mechanics are you going to get, or in the case of Cradle, how much of the cultivation, the meditation time to understand who you are, to develop these new abilities. I actually think Alan would probably like the cultivation progression stuff. I don't care for it, but I think Alan probably would, more so than Gamelit, although I do think Alan would like Dungeon Crawler Carl. I do. I think he plays enough video. I do. I think he plays enough video games that he'll never listen to it or read it or anything for at least 6 years, because it has to die down completely. Nobody has to be discussing it anymore. It has to have been filed away in the Where Are They Now file. then Alan will go pick up that
You
series.
know what I just realized is that Dungeon Crawler Carl is probably a candidate for the type of TV show I was talking about.
Well, they're making one.
Yeah, I know.
They're
I know. I was just thinking like that actually could be pretty big, huh?
Yeah, it's Seth MacFarlane's doing it.
Brent said, "What if they bounced off because if I had to hear about one more loot box, I was going to kick the shoes."
Yeah. But some of the loot boxes are just hilarious. So it's not for everybody. Romantasy's not for everybody.
Sure, yeah.
It really isn't. And just because you're a big fantasy reader doesn't mean you're going to like lit RPG. I happen to love it, but there's even elements about it sometimes that I don't like. So, but there's elements of fantasy books I don't like too.
Sure. I mean, there's things I'm super tired of. I'm actually very much over the Academy stuff in fantasy. Though I will say, in Will Domeni's defense, I was worried about the Academy stuff. Other than like a couple, obvious things, like there's going to be a bully, right? There's going to be a teacher that doesn't like the main. That's all standard fare.
Yeah.
I've actually not really minded the Academy stuff as much in Will of the Many as I thought I would. But yeah, there's stuff in fantasy like I'm good. Like I don't need to see any more of this, right?
That's right. That's right. And there's just there's a lot of different lit RPG. It's not one. It's basically like saying, hey, do you like fantasy? Well, what kind of fantasy? There's a lot of different kinds of fantasy. Same with lit RPG.
Yeah, I always come to the defense of the genre that way too. People are like, I don't like fantasy, I don't like Lord of the Rings or whatever. And I'm like, well, let's pump the brakes here. I do this for romance, which I don't read or necessarily care for. But when I hear someone read an Emily Henry book and then slam the entire genre, I'm like, that's just so close-minded. I'm not saying that they have to like it, but I'm just saying you can't judge a whole genre off any genre off of one thing. I don't think.
So I was looking at my bookshelf earlier and I grabbed Mystic River because I knew you haven't read it yet. And I know it's definitely a Jimmy Nuts book. Have you read this one, Childhood's End by Arthur C. Clarke?
I haven't. No, I've never even heard of it.
This is a Jimmy
I mean, I know
Nuts
Arthur
book.
C. Clarke, obviously, but
it's short. This is a Jimmy Nuts book. This is classic sci-fi. This is First Contact stuff.
Ooh,
it is deeply philosophical. It is very original. You've never read anything like it before. In knowing you, that you like unique shit that's out there, and Arthur C. Clarke is extraordinarily imaginative, and that is a masterpiece.
How long is it?
Really 200 and
you're good. You said the magic words.
Is that enough?
Yeah. As long as it's under 300, we're in, bud. I mean, that might even that might be in the top next 10 books I read.
It's less than 300 pages.
I've been in the mood for some sci-fi too, man. Ever since I read Aversion by Alistair Reynolds, I've just been like, especially standalone sci-fis, because standalone sci-fis have been largely hits for me.
Totally standalone. There'll be nothing before it you need to read, nothing after it. It's a story. And there are very few books that I've read that I walked away thinking, see, you're going to get the same thing with Wolf Hall, right? Right. But there's very few books that I've walked away literally thinking about for days afterwards, even while I'm reading another book. That's one. Piranesi was one. There's a handful that are just so different that you go, wow, that was something crazy. Yeah. I
honestly think that might get read this year then. Cause I'm all about that 200 page book count standalones right now. That's where I'm at. Unfortunately this month, it's not the case. Like Will of the Many is like 600 pages, Devil's 600 pages. I picked up The Passage, which, so far I'm loving, but oh my God, it's so long. It's so long. Ironically, the Patreon pick was 3 novellas bound up into a collection, which is kind of nice.
That's not bad.
Yeah, thank God.
That's kind of cool.
Thank
if
God.
Somebody would have. Let me ask you a question. If you would have pulled The Wandering Inn out of there, would you have really read it?
I would have read what people consider to be like the first break. Like I wouldn't read 1,500 pages. It's not happening. But I would give it a shot. Like I would read enough to see where I'm at with it. But it's not like, oh, I'm gonna read the whole thing. Not a chance. Like that's just ridiculous.
Yeah, that's another one. I mean, the outside of Dungeon Crawler Carl, the 2 most famous lit RPG series, I don't care for either one of them, Cradle or The Wandering Inn. So
yeah, Wandering Inn's huge. You better be careful. They'll come for you.
Oh, they already have. Yeah, I
They
mean,
don't like that.
I tier listed all the lit RPG series that I read, and it didn't quite end up in the Magicians category, which will always be the lowest tier on any tier list I ever do. The Magicians by Lev Grossman gets a
Yeah, it's your
permanent
favorite.
spot. It's the permanent worst spot. And the only book that will ever go into the Magicians category is The Magicians. Nothing will ever be that bad. So
Bad. Damn.
yeah. But The Wandering Inn was the one up from there. So yeah.
Ooh, it was flirting.
Uh-huh.
It was on that line. Okay. I mean,
In the words of 1970s Southern rock band Molly Hatchet, it was flirting with disaster.
Oh, I like it. See, Flirting with Disaster. That's a good romantasy or romance thriller title.
Isn't it though?
Flirting with Disaster. And then the guy goes, "Disaster is my middle name." Oh,
that's right.
scenes write themselves.
As they do, don't they? I've already got the image in my mind. I'm going to call BuzzFeed when we get off.
You hitting on women going 90 miles an hour on a go-kart. Yes. To downtown Austin, Texas. Flirting.
I'm there.
I love
it. I'm there.
Flirting with Disaster. This could be huge. My God. You haven't read Return of the Crimson Guard, Brian. Yeah. He's not wrong.
So that could make it. All right. Well, I don't know. I'm going to do, I have not announced this yet, but I will. I always like to bring something new to Chatting with Nuts, and I will announce I will be doing another DNF challenge coming up sometime in the next 6 to 9 months. I will dedicate an entire month, and you're going to be one of them, that I'm going to go to 7 booktubers who I didn't go to for the first time and select a book that they think is either so terrible that they DNF'd it or so terrible that they regretted reading it entirely. You're going to be one of them. Alan's going to be one of them. And I'm going to pick 5 other booktubers to give me books that I have to read and come back and award truly the worst one of them all. So,
well,
we're breaking news right here. The BuzzFeed thing was big, but that might even be bigger, and only here on Chatting with Nuts.
I mean, I love that idea. First off, like that's good community video I can get behind. I quite like that. You did upset some of the Magician fans in the chat. There are some people who really like the Magician. They're not really upset, but there are some people who really like the Magicians, but also a ton of love for Childhood Zen in the chat. I mean, so many people are like, dude, it's amazing. Apparently Charles Dance is in the adaptation. People like that. And Annette wanted to know if I have any plans to read I Cheerfully Refuse. You said in live was in your soon-to-read TBR, but I understand if you don't have time. All that means is that it's on a certain shelf, which means I start pulling books off that shelf. And it is there. Because I picked it up and I thought it sounded I actually read the first chapter and really liked it. So it's on my radar. Now, does that even mean it'll be read this year? I don't know. Things are always changing around here. I'm really, especially with how life's going right now, I have to, I got to do what I'm feeling. I have to. It's
same here. I mean, my TBR got wrecked with my mom's stuff. So it's like, I read Trust of the Emerald Sea. It was the only book I read in all of April because I needed a book that asked literally nothing of me, that I could just read it and it would be chill and it didn't require any deep thought. And that was it. So
right book at the right time is one of the magic moments of reading.
For sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. For those who do not know, BellTube's mom did pass away recently. And obviously we were terribly sorry to hear that, man. I know she was your number one fan.
Oh yeah. I mean, and I got to say thank you too, because I spaced this off and I meant to thank you at the beginning of the stream because during an episode with Chatting with Nuts, you started with just that kind of information and it really did mean a lot to me. And I mean, easily the hardest thing I've ever had happen in my life, without a doubt. So it was hugely meaningful for you to mention her and me and all of that. So
yeah,
thank
you.
I mean,
I anything I could do for you, man, I absolutely would. You're a good dude, and she clearly did a great job raising you. I think you got probably a lot of her personality from what I hear.
It's almost. I mean, I'm 98% my mom, 2% my dad. For the most part, personality wise, business wise, different. Business wise, I'm 100% my dad.
It's a good mix.
Just in life, and I mean, if anybody knows me, they know my mom. I mean, that's just how it is. Her her personality is woven into the fabric of who I am. And she's also the funniest person that I've ever met. So it's like, cool. I got to have a funny mom, and not everybody gets to have one. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah,
then
yeah,
whenever
yeah.
they're in your corner, I mean, it means my mom's always been my number one fan. I mean,
Hmm.
she has supported me for through everything I've ever attempted. You know, she always believed in
Hmm.
me and always probably saw a little bit more of myself than I probably have seen. Uh,
They do. I
in my
mean,
own
I
eyes.
mean, Derry was extraordinarily. Derry reached out to me. She was just, she understood it, and she just described it really well. That moms see in us the things that we don't always see in ourselves, and even when things aren't going great, they still unconditionally believe in us if we're lucky enough to have a great mom. And
Mhm.
not everybody does, and I'm fully aware of that, and I appreciate so much. And one of the things that I'm really glad about is that my mom was never did was never unaware of how I felt about her, and vice versa.
Hmm.
We were very, very open. It's like, I love you so much. I love you so much, back and forth. I texted with my mom every night. She'd be like, what are you reading? I'm on that, sleep tight. I'd write her back, you too, blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, there was nothing left unsaid
Wow.
that I'm regretful for, that going, oh, if I could just have one more conversation to get something off my chest or whatever. None of that. So, in that regard, I'm extraordinarily blessed.
Yeah, not everyone could
Yeah.
say that.
No,
No.
no,
Was that
man.
always the case
Mhm.
throughout your whole life?
Throughout my whole life. My dad grew up in a really awful childhood, and he was basically a war zone. And he put all of his focus into his businesses that he was working. And my mom was really the emotional glue of the family, because it wasn't something that my dad grew up around. There was no love in my dad's upbringing, but there was all love in my mom's upbringing. And so she just decided to take it upon herself that that's how she was going to make sure that we got raised. And my mom was the president of Minneapolis Children's Hospital Volunteer Association. Most of my life growing up, just organizing volunteers and making sure, I mean, this is an unpaid job, right? Just making sure that Children's Hospital was, well, represented in the volunteer community. So, yeah, she was always like that. And sometimes that's not always great parenting either, because in some regard, it kind of turned into good cop, bad cop, where my dad was always kind of cast into the bad light. My mom was always the savior, shining light, saying, don't worry, it's all going to be fine, blah, blah, blah. And
Yeah.
that's not always optimal either for, childhood development, but it was unconditional love from day one. And one of the weirdest parts about it, I hope I'm not boring the audience with this. If I
No, no,
am,
no,
we
no.
can
No,
we
you're
could
good. We're good.
change topics.
No.
But my mom's dad died when he was 54, and she was like 21 years old, and I was born 4 months later. So I basically became this, my mom had this huge void in her life, right? I mean, her 54-year-old father just has a heart attack and dies. 4 months later,
Mhm.
I'm born, and I became kind of like a reason for her to want to continue to not go into a massive depression. And back then, there wasn't like the kind of care there is now for those kinds of things. So we had an immediate bond, because in a sense, I was almost like an emotional, not replacement, but just something else that could deal with the unimaginable grief that she was having, losing her dad at 21.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
It's a
from
connection.
get go, from day one, we had just the best connection. And I mean, I told this, I got to shout out John Minton too, because I mean, John's lost both of his parents, and he called me literally every single day. Um, After it happened, just calling to check in. We can hang up
Mm.
if you don't want to talk about it, but I'm just calling to check in and see how you are. And never about what he was up to, never about anything with the family Minton, just want to know how I am. And I'll never ever forget it. John is the best of us, I'm telling you. What you guys see on TV with Talking Story is not bullshit. It's not an act. He is that guy. He's a great dude. So yeah, I mean, I've been very, very fortunate. And I even told Mike that, you know, it was really bizarre, because when I was going through some serious surreal grief, like,
Yeah.
because it happens and your brain understands it happens, but you can't really fathom the world without your person in it, right? My mom, I'm not married, I don't have kids. My mom was my person. And when your brain starts to try to figure out, how do I live without, how does this universe even make sense? You know, you're so unmoored by the whole thing. What do you do? And I happen to be just flipping through TV and I'm watching one of Mike's weekly updates, right? And it's a throwaway video. It's, you know, it's, no one's going to go back and watch Mike's video from April whatever of 2025, 4 years from now, you know, like a
Yeah.
book reviewer, something
Yeah.
that changed their life. It's just a, you know, normal weekly whatever video. But for me, it was gigantic because it brought a sense of normalcy to an otherwise so unmoored existence, going, what is real, what is not real, is this really happening? Oh yeah, there's Mike's doing his weekly book, you know, talk, whatever. What is he reading? What is he going to be reading? And it
Yeah.
was the only thing that was normal to me.
Hmm.
And for that, the booktube community has been incredibly grateful. And Slay, I mean, all these guys, Tories, Discord raised a ton of money and donated to Children's Hospital here in Minneapolis. Booktube community has been just incredible. So I don't know
Awesome.
even how I got off on that, but
No, I think it's
it's probably
beautiful.
probably good. Send me the therapy bill. That was
No, I think that's pretty great. I mean, where are you at right now with grief?
It's the best thing I can describe it as is the weather, where
Huh.
it changes throughout the day. Sometimes the wind picks up a little bit, sometimes the clouds come in a little bit, then they move off and it's just sunny out, and then you get a little sprinkle of rain, or then you might get a big storm and then that clears out and it's sunny again, or the full moon's out and there's no clouds in the sky. And it's kind of like that right now.
Hmm.
And I suspect it's going to be like that for a while. But, you know, I'll share with, you know, everybody what I shared with my sister earlier today. Was yesterday and today was the first time I woke up in the morning and my mom was the second thing I thought about.
Hmm.
Because up until yesterday, the very first thing that popped into my head for the last almost, you know, is 7 weeks tomorrow, well, the very first thing was my mom has died. And I kept wondering, what day is it going to be that I wake up and it's not the very first thing that hits me the minute I open my eyes? And it was actually yesterday and then again today. It was absolutely the second thing that I thought of, but it felt like, okay, maybe my body's adapting to this a little bit better. Maybe my nervous system is catching up to reality. And without a doubt, my mother would be like, oh my God, you need to, you know, just keep making videos and have fun and live
Yeah.
your life, and do not like sit and go into a, you know, a depression hole over me. That would like devastate her
Not what she
if
wants
I
for you.
let, no, it would devastate her. So I'm trying to be like, okay, I am going to do what's in the best of my ability without forcing anything, without, you know, trying to push things before I'm ready to do it. And, you know, so far I think things are going all right.
Yeah, man. I mean, that is a very intense change because we only have so many people who know us, and I mean really know us, that have been there through all the ups and the downs, which I
Hmm.
know, you know, with your business booming and then coming to a close, moving on, starting new chapters in your life, like the circle of people who care, it seems to only get a little smaller for most people.
Hmm.
And you just think about one less person in those stands cheering, and then that could be a pretty hard thing to go out and do your thing every day. I mean, that's a
It,
very difficult
it
thing.
it is. And, you know, I mean, I think it's really important to befriend people that have gone through stuff like this before, because there's no substituting this. There's no theoretical, I wonder,
Mhm.
you know, how this would go. There isn't. There's no substitute for the having that had this happen. And people like John have been incredible. Jenny Wirtz has, you know, been incredible about that as well. Um, and to just talk about like the painful feelings that you get in your heart start turning into more heartwarming memories as the days click by. And that's what we're all trying to go for. I mean, if that didn't happen that way, the human race wouldn't exist, right? I mean,
Yeah.
if we all jumped off a cliff the minute our loved ones passed, the human race would not be here anymore. So it has to do something with our inner self and our own spirituality that somehow integrates loss into the makeup of who we are, but in more of a heartwarming and special way than a something was taken from me way. And I think it's just time. And if you're able to share the experience with somebody who's kind of lived it already, that's
Yeah.
I found that to be important.
Yeah. I think that that's incredibly important. It's kind of essential to the human experience and connection with other people. Like you have to have it. And like you have to carry that memory on because one day, you know, after many, many generations, no one will have known who we were, who our
That's right.
parents were. And I think we owe it to the people who have been such an impact, have such an impact on our lives to continue to carry them as long as that is. It is futile of an attempt, I think, to keep it all alive forever. But I think it's noble to probably try our hardest to do such.
I think so. I
Yeah,
think
man.
so.
What was your
Let's
mom's
talk about
favorite
books. So
book?
let's talk.
What was
Oh,
your mom's
well,
favorite book?
ugh, well, I don't know what her favorite book was, but I do know we buddy read Lonesome Dove together,
Hmm.
which is back on the piece of artwork behind me
That
that she
she made.
painted for me. Yeah, she
Yeah.
made that for me. But we buddy read Lonesome Dove together. I want to say it was going to be 2 years ago this coming summer. And she was writing To Ride Hell's Chasm, ultimately was the last book that she was reading, and she was loving it. So yeah, it's pretty cool. And she wasn't sure she'd be into fantasy. I mean, but she watched so much of BellTube. She never missed an episode. She loved you. She thought you were great. The
Did
first time
she?
she saw it, yes, the first time she saw you was with me, you, Alan, on Mad on Books
Yeah.
channel when we did that 4-person channel. It was the first time. She was like, you know who I really liked was that guy who was eating a pizza during during the whole thing. I said, you mean Alan? She goes, yeah, Alan. I really liked Alan.
Cold pizza. It's always
Yeah.
cold pizza.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Absolutely. So yeah. Anyway, but yeah, so that she loved that types of stuff, and she, she just had finished Demon Copperhead, I think, not that long ago.
Let's go.
Yeah, so maybe she was in the Fantasy Network book club. Who knows? She's probably a patron behind my back.
I mean, she might have been. She might have been,
Yeah.
and I would have loved to have had her there for sure. I really appreciate you sharing all that about your mom. I'm glad to know something about her. And
Mhm.
I think that you are awesome, man. And I think a lot of that credit goes to her, not you. So
No doubt. Dude, we are never giving me credit for anything, myself included. This is all my mother. Yes, I am a product of very good influences or bad influences, depending on who you ask, I suppose.
do you think your mom would have laughed at the Bell Loop joke?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. All right. She's okay in my book then.
Absolutely. I guarantee you, there would have been a text saying, how many orders of Bell Lube did we get during your stream?
Well, now we got it.
Oh, like I said, she's hilarious. I mean, she's mom in the sense of loving and all of that, but funny as shit too. So yeah,
That's fantastic, man. That's fantastic.
totally.
I am very curious, and this is a little bit of a different vein here, but you
Yeah,
mentioned
we can switch veins because yeah, I don't want to absolutely wind on the mom note on any of that.
no,
So yeah,
I wanted to ask you about it because I wanted to know more about her. I wanted everyone else to be able to hear about her, and I mean, this is an experience, whether it's our mom or someone close, we all will experience these things. So
Mhm.
it's not just therapeutic, maybe for you and I talking about, but I think also for other people to hear it. And I think that's a value. That's something I really wanted to do as long as you were comfortable with it. And I do appreciate you sharing all that, man.
Oh, for sure. And timing is everything because I wouldn't have been able to do that a month ago.
Yeah.
There's just I could talk to John. I could that's about it. That's about it.
Yeah. Takes
So what were you
immense.
going to ask me? You're going to ask me something. I don't know. You don't
So
even remember.
during your Tress, and this kind of ties in because Tress was the right book at the right time when you were dealing with
Mhm.
all this. The only book you read in March, and you gave it a 4 or 5, and you were talking about how it might have been different had you read it at a different time, but that was it, and it didn't quite get the 5-star because you're a little stingy on the 5-star.
I am.
So
I am very stingy on the 5-star.
my question is, what was the last 5-star you had?
The last 5-star I had was, I'm gonna say, oh come on, I know it's behind me. Why can't I see
I mean, there
it?
should be only so few 5-stars.
Midnight Tides.
Oh, correct answer. Love to see.
Yeah, Midnight Tides.
Okay.
It's directly behind me, and I couldn't see it right there. Midnight Tides. That was the last 5-star. I think
that is.
And Curse of the Mistwraith was also a 5-star for me as well.
Nice. I think I gave it 3.5. I think I really like the ending of that book. The ending of it was really really good.
Yeah,
I like the weird formatting.
Yeah, and I liked Ships of Merrier. I actually really liked a lot. I just think that I was reading it in a period of grief, and it was hard to get a 5-star review out of me at anything. I was just glad to be reading it, to be honest with you. So, but yeah, Midnight Tides was the last 5-star I gave. And it was worth every one of those stars.
Hell yeah, man. It's so good. So cinematic. Love
T-hole and bug. T-hole
God.
and bug, brother. I mean,
it's a tragedy with a lot of comedy mixed in there.
And you know what's interesting is that I had no idea, because I've never seen a Steven Erikson interview, because I never wanted to inadvertently get spoiled to the series. Not that he would spoil it, but that some interviewer or some commenter or somebody would start talking about a book that I hadn't read yet. So I avoided all of his interviews. And my only experience had been the first 4 books. And I loved them. Okay. I loved every single book so far. But I didn't know that he had this comic side to him at all until I got to Midnight Tides. And the whole T-hole and bug bit that goes throughout the whole thing, I'm like, this dude has got Sir Terry Pratchett in him in such clever ways that I had no clue. And I just, like, Steven Erikson was already way up here for me as an author. I did not know he had that, in his wheelhouse. And I was like, okay, he's got that in his toolbox too. Good stuff.
It's not done yet either. You're not done with those guys yet. So,
I suspect not. Yeah.
Good news.
I suspect not. Yeah. Philip is extremely happy that I'm reading 2 of his favorite series right now, between Malazan and Wars of Light and Shadow. I'm keeping the good doctor in good spirits with my reading TBRs.
Well, he's so mean, so you got to really get on his good side.
Seriously, it's all an act. I'm telling you guys. When the cameras go off and the glasses come off and the F-bombs start flying.
A real bastard.
The dogs are getting kicked.
The dogs are getting kicked.
Calling the cops on his neighbors. I mean, it's just, it's a real shit show over at House Chase. I'm telling you.
Doesn't even have a television, which I think is absurd.
Oh, he had one. He just threw it against the wall and broke it.
Yeah, he broke it over his head in a fit of rage.
That's right. Yeah, that's correct. A tennis racket went right through the screen.
Netflix passed on the Way of the Dan adaptation and just bam, right over his head.
That was
I'll never watch it again.
That's it.
Is there a book that you've read that you did not give 5 stars to that now in retrospect you're like, I probably could have given it 5 stars?
Maybe Mystic River. I think I gave it 4 3/4. I think.
You're almost.
But
there.
as I step back from it, it's more the problem with Mystic River is that, again, timing is everything. And I was sort of like not in the greatest mood when I was reading Mystic River, because I want to think this was the time that Amazon had pulled all my ads down for like a month and a half over the holiday season. So my business was in huge trouble. And thanks, Carlos. Thanks, Yolanda. But I was just kind of going through it in business wise. And so reading the difficult stuff in Mystic River may have inadvertently given it that 1/4 star down to 4.75. But in retrospect, when I think about it, it's a 5-star. Another 5 stars, what we talked about earlier, was Cloud Atlas. Even though I didn't love each section of it, the totality of it and the piece of art that the guy created, 5 stars all day long.
Yeah.
So yeah.
When a book sticks with you after, I always find that raises it in my estimation. I don't really do.
This got 5 stars. This got 5 stars.
You're really selling this to me.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I will order it tonight. I'll order it tonight. I'm trying not to order so many books because I'm probably going to be living on the streets soon. But
I mean, but how much can it in the Arthur C. Clarke book be right now?
actually,
Right?
that's a good
I
point. They
mean,
have a ton at my used bookstore. I should check there first. They usually don't have a
yeah,
lot that I like, but they
sure,
do carry a ton of Arthur. It's Dean Koontz, Stephen King, and Arthur C.
yeah.
Clarke everywhere, and
Go
Terry
get it
Goodkind.
there. Go
Yeah,
get it there.
yeah, it's a good
It's
idea.
probably be like 99 cents.
Did you have any other books on that stack?
What stack?
The stack of books that you were recommending? You had your Lahane ready. You had
Oh
Childhood's End.
God.
Like,
Um, have you read Lonesome Dove?
I have not, but it's on my list. I'm actually going to read it with my best friend Andrew. He's been on the channel like twice, I think. We used to do talking
I,
manga
I
together.
I think when it comes to dialogue and when it comes to characterizations, really hard to beat Larry McMurtry. I would have never thought in a million years I would have any interest in essentially a cow herd trek from Texas to Montana. Sounds like the most boring, not even in the top 30 genres of books that I didn't even look at it as a Western, because I think of Westerns as like gunslingers and the saloons and
Good,
all
bad,
that.
and
That's
ugly.
not what,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm thinking Clint Eastwood Western, right? The gunslinger, that type of stuff. That's not what this is. This is trekking cattle from Texas to Montana. And it's a big book, and it just seemed like what a snooze fest.
This big.
Yeah,
So big.
that's what she said. But but I think you would love that book. There's so much to love about that book. That one I can understand trying to fit into your TBR when you can, because it is a long book, and it doesn't read remarkably slow, but it also doesn't read remarkably fast either.
Yeah.
It's pretty average reading pace. So all those page counts, it's going to take some time to get through, but I really think that Lonesome Dove will be a hit for you. I do.
Yeah,
So
I've had so many people recommend. I mean, Lost in Discovery Christian, good friend of mine. I mean, just on. Have you read it yet? Have you read it yet? He knows I'm gonna love it. So it's high up there. It's just when am I gonna fit in this big chunker? I mean, the last two massive books I fit in were The Deluge, which was 5 stars, probably my book of the year right now, and then The Passage currently, which is taking me a very long time to get through. So maybe Lonesome Dove could be the next big book I tackle. Maybe.
I think you'd love it. And Anita pointed something out that I forgot about. I think I also gave Senlin Ascends 5 stars.
Oh yeah, I think I really enjoyed the writing, and I kind of like the idea behind it, but I ended up not continuing after that book. It was just not for me. Like it was. I think it's a really good book. It just wasn't for me, unfortunately.
But that's another example of the craft and the art of literature brought that up to a 5-star for me.
Nice.
Certainly not the character himself. Like I wasn't in love with Thomas Senlin. There's nothing to really love too much about him.
I didn't like.
Yeah, our boy Tom, not that great, but just the craft of it, I can appreciate it for what it was, and I think that's why that got a 5-star too. I don't really care for the rest. What do you say? Something about Lonesome Dove.
Oh, PNW said never really cared for Western, read Lonesome Dove, and then proceeded to read the other 3 in the series with the quickness, and will read soon. I know that the sequels are polarizing for a lot of people, but if I love it that much, maybe I would continue. I'm not sure. We'll see. The Passage also has sequels.
I don't think you need to. Yeah.
You don't think so?
I haven't. I loved it, but you know what? But part of it though, for me though, is that I did. Oh, see, Sarah Beth knows what I give this ratings to better than I do. But I think that it'll be some time before I return to the Lonesome Dove universe, just because of my mom. There's just such a connection there that it's like, let's wait till that
maybe
feels
leave that one.
heartwarming. Yeah,
it's
just and not forever, because she wouldn't like that either. She'd be like, no, I want you to read the book, but you could wait until it feels good to read it. Makes you think that I'm sitting there with you.
Yeah.
Better.
Yeah. I mean, that's a great idea. I think.
Yeah.
Buddy reads. I've had a couple that have been pretty monumental for me, and it's always nice when a book brings 2 people closer together. I mean, I had there were 2 people in my Discord that Buddy read Akatar as kind of a joke, and they ended up moving in with each other. Like they're in a relationship.
Wow.
And a long time coming now, like a long time going. It's like,
Wow.
books. It's funny. Buddy reads for me have always been a bit disappointing, but there are times wherever it connects, and you get an appreciation for experiencing something that you really enjoy with someone else, or even if you really don't like it. Actually, you can also hate read something together. Pretty fun.
I mean, when you and I, buddy, read Earth of the New Sun, our relationship went next level.
We have found some sort of connection in not delivering on reading that book. Now I never want to read.
We can't.
We can't. The memes are too good. I might just skip it and just read the next.
I'll see what I can do. You know what? I'll ask BuzzFeed. I'll see if they will somehow sponsor a several stream length thing about our journey through Earth of the New Sun. We may be onto something.
Oh, and we'd have like a set where we talk about it on, and we have a hologram Gene Wolfe come up with a Pringles can.
Definitely. And he tells us we've totally misunderstood the whole thing from start to finish.
You didn't really understand the play. Well, I didn't like the play, Gene. Eugene.
Yeah.
The play was the worst part, I thought.
Yeah. No.
He'd be so offended. Actually, he would love it. I think he would love knowing that I didn't know. I think he would enjoy that aspect of it.
For sure. And Gene Wolfe, he's aware enough to know he's smarter than most readers. Okay. That's just how it is. And he knows that, and he knows we know that. And it's a very meta thing. So when he's writing something that he knows everyone's going to be very confused about, there's no way he'd be like, what? I don't understand. I thought I laid it out so cleverly in it. No, he made it difficult intentionally. So
yeah. Just a little bit,
kudos to
little finger to the reader, maybe, possibly. Just
well, you know who we can ask? We can ask Samwise, because he regularly has a Ouija board that he communes with Gene Wolfe. So I think it's very possible Samwise can get to the bottom of this. I'll put it on my list.
Hobo Giant says, Gene wasn't a Pringles man. He was more of a Funyuns fan. Well, he helped in the invention of the Pringles. He didn't invent the Pringle, but he did have a hand in it, which is kind of insane. And a lot of people remarked the fact that the mustached man on the can kind of looks a little bit like him with his ridiculous mustache. Yeah, a little bit.
Do you know, a friend of mine in that I went to high school with, his dad helped develop, I don't know what they are, the corn candy things that fit on your fingertip.
Oh, the corn, like corn Pringle. Corn.
Yeah.
I know. Yes. Yeah, I used to put my fingers and do the Freddy Krueger thing.
Yeah, his dad invented those, or was part of, because I think it was a General Mills product, and they're based here. So it's either Pillsbury or General Mills. And yeah.
Is he loaded?
I don't think so, because I think he just worked at the company.
So did he just have a lifetime supply of corn chips to put on his fingers?
The next time I go to the reunion, if he's still alive amongst the living, I will find out if he's got a garage full of the corn finger things, and I'm going to get back to you on that one.
Bugles.
That's it.
We got it in for Bugles. We are going to get a Bugles sponsorship for the BuzzFeed series where we put books in our butt.
Bugles? I bet you they do.
Dude, people are going nuts for can't get it going nuts for the Bugles. What's up, Dark Ones Tank? Good to see you, my friend. Good to see you.
They all know it. Isn't that so funny? We didn't even have any idea.
I had forgotten. My sister loved those. My sister loved Bugles.
Yeah. I can't remember if I liked him or not.
Honestly, when I was a kid, I liked pretty much everything, which is why I was a large child. I was a very large child back in the day.
I was tiny. I graduated high school. I was on the wrestling team, and I was a gymnast. And I graduated high school, I think, at 116 pounds. Is that insane or what?
I mean, in any facet, that's insane.
I weigh 50 pounds more than that right now. But yeah, it's just like, it was good for gymnastics.
I would imagine so. You're very bendy.
Yeah, very right? I mean, it's not, maybe that's what I need to do on the channel. That's how we're going to springboard this sucker back to life. I'm going to pull out the parallel bars and do my 1987 routine. I wonder if I can find the music and get on those P bars. And I bet you I've got the tank top and the gymnastic shorts around here somewhere. This is going to be quality television. I got one more in me.
You got one more in you, dude. You know what someone should do? They should do, like, whenever they're putting the paddles of somebody on the pit, they should just have your channel logo. Like over the person's face, how people make that would be super funny.
Bring it
bringing
back
it back to
life.
life. He's flatlining here. He's doing
We're
another
doing it.
stream.
We're doing it. Oh my God.
Oh no, it's the disco ball. He didn't learn from last time.
I know, right? God, Funky Mirage needs to come back to the channel too. There's so many things that need to happen over here. This place is, it's crazy that there's not fire behind me going on, the whole set burning down, and just,
Rick
the
Thunder tap
sprinkler
dancing
system
in the
comes
background.
on. Oh God, yeah. I mean, when I do the final episode, whenever that is, that'll be one for the absolute, record books for sure.
That'll be the finale.
Yeah, it's true.
That'll
Yeah.
be the finale, bro.
Yeah, it'll be Rick Thunder bringing the laptop, the monitor, the camera, the microphone, everything into the hot tub.
In a halfway house.
In a halfway house.
He's down bad. He's down bad.
Yes. With Nurse Testament Beth. Callback.
Yes. Oh my goodness. That was a great callback.
Thank you.
We've had a couple good ones this episode.
We've had some good ones. You know what? You're going to appreciate this. By the way, cut me off whenever you need to. But fine. So I'm watching YouTube today, as we do, and I see the Today Show is featuring a 6-minute segment on a comedian that you and I think is top tier, S tier of all S tiers, and that is Conan O'Brien.
Yes.
And the title of the video is Conan opens up about losing his parents within 3 days of each other, right?
Oh, wow.
So that's the title of the video. So I'm drawn to that immediately, right?
Sure.
First I look at the date of the video, right? Like, is this from 10 years ago? Or no, it's from like, a couple of weeks ago. Mm-hmm. And I'm watching this thing and they're just talking about his career and they're talking about whatever. Then they bring up his parents for about 10 seconds. And he said, yeah, it was really difficult. And then they go back to, his new shows and everything else. I actually put a hate comment today on a YouTube video. Thankfully, it was not on a BookTube video, but it was on the Today Show. I absolutely came down like the Alan Hammer on the Today Show in the comment section, telling them they are the biggest clickbait bullshit company for doing that. That the title is Conan opens up about losing his parents within 3 days of each other.
And he did.
And it was nothing. It was less than 10 seconds. They mentioned it. He said it was awful, but he really loved his parents. And then they moved on. That was the entirety of the whole thing.
And it has nothing to do with Conan. It has everything to do with them just wanting to farm clicks.
That's all. But that's what I put them in the.
Yeah,
I put it in the.
That's
in the comments.
Man. That's frustrating.
I was like. And I wrote, I love Conan. I was very clear saying he's my favorite guy on TV. There's nobody like him. He is smarter than everybody in comedy right now by a mile, except for maybe Martin Short. They're pretty close to each other. In my book, they're kind of neck and neck when it comes to quick-witted cleverness. But yeah, I was like, I prefaced it saying, this is nothing about Conan because I love him. But the fact you guys titled this video that, come on.
Trash.
So we started talking about this. We started talking about the Today Show on Chatting with Nuts.
Well, this is the Tonight Show. This is the Right Now Show.
This is the Right Here, Right Now show, brought to you by the Ghost of Van Halen. So yeah,
right. And there is absolutely no clickbait here because no one's clicking.
You have to get clicks. We're using the wrong bait.
No, there's some baiting going on, but there's no clicking.
The wrong bait. I put 10 books in my butt, and here's what happened.
My God. I think that is the perfect go-home statement for us tonight.
Yeah.
Brian, it's been a wonderful 2.5 hours talking to you, man. I regret waiting 20 episodes. I think it's been 20 episodes since I brought you on.
Has it really?
Yeah, it's been a minute. I haven't been as thorough with these as I should have been. So there's been like more time that's passed than what normal 20 episodes would be. But we'll get you back on soon, man. I think the people love you. I know I do. And I'm always just thankful to share some laughs with you. And obviously also, we can have serious conversations if we want. I mean, we don't have to, but we're capable.
Right.
We're capable.
We are, you guys, we can do it.
That's right. We can bait with BellTube.
If we could put our minds to it together, We can make at least a half of the channel.
Yeah,
There's no
if we combined ourselves, we would be a quarter of the way to being a tenth of the way to being bookborn.
done. Done. That is an achievable goal.
I think it is. I think we're gonna have to pull it together, and we're gonna have to do some more. What it was? It Thunder and Nuts.
Thunder and Nuts. Well, I'll see if I get him to come on your show, but I have not had a repeat guest yet on For Whom the Bell Tolls because it has been on hiatus. But I think it is time to bring Jimmy Nuts back on the show. I've got a handful of people that I have to have as repeat guests, and you are, my friend, right up there in those top group. There is no doubt about it.
Thank you.
So
Thank you. I will get it demonetized. Like I'm gonna be unhinged. I'm gonna say some heinous stuff.
do you
on
think
your channel.
anybody's advertising on my channel besides BuzzFeed and merchandise? Don't forget the merch, all available in the merch store on BellTube.
That's a fact. I don't have
That
one.
is a fact.
I
Oh,
don't
you're
have
gonna
one,
have one.
Brian.
You're getting the whole kit. After this is the opposite. Like, so normally when you go on the show, they give you the gift, the swag bag for coming on. I
Yeah.
do the opposite. You bring me on the show, I send you the swag bag.
Send me a swag
Some
bag and a new job. If you can do those
Some-
two things.
Some may call that bribery. And we may have a coding position opening up at BellTube that I think you might be the perfect candidate for.
Oh,
So
I would love. I would
if
love.
if it could combine your passions of coding and lube into a rock solid career with a granite force as stable as me, I mean,
Yes.
come on.
Yes, I think we
We're-
could dive.
We're
into
talking
many
dream
things.
job.
Yeah, I
We're
mean,
talk-
we could really transition to something real.
I do
solid.
have one question though. Are
Okay.
you cool holding your paycheck for like 3 or 4 months on any given time, for maybe several weeks at a time or months at a time? Would that be within, okay. I mean, you'll
Yeah.
have the check, you just can't deposit it quite yet.
Yeah, I mean, I lived in
Okay,
my
okay.
car for a little bit. I can. do
Okay,
that.
okay, cool. Then I think I think we'll be good. I think we'll be good. Just call me before you go to the bank. Make sure.
I I won't cash anything without your permission. I want to highlight this though. Lose there and Teletubby, which by the way is a tremendous fucking username. Said far too
Wow.
short. I've been sleeping on BellTube this whole time, so now I got to go subscribe and watch the old CWN episode with BellTube. You absolutely should.
I think this one's better, by
this
the
is
way,
better.
because Jimmy and I know each other way better now. So
Yeah, I didn't have much of a plan for this one, and honestly, the episodes always go better when it's less structured. So, I mean, I
Totally.
had fun. That's all that really matters.
I seriously give this a 5 out of 10 on my personal enjoyment meter for sure. So
I had a
mean,
suitable time talking with you.
it was so average. I mean, look, there's lower than average that this could have gone. It didn't. It did not go lower than average. And for that, am eternally grateful to have a Friday night with the Friday Night Delight that borderlined on better than average. Come on. I mean, that's
Hey, this average? Huh?
guns.
I'm playing bongos. I'm playing bongos.
This is some good numbers.
It's a
I had an
shame.
awesome time. I love coming on the show, and I have to tell you guys, if you ever are invited to come on this show, you gotta say immediately yes, because Jimmy is the best in the bit. Look at those pecs. Look at those pecs. Those pecs aren't fooling around. You know what? If I swear to God, if I was 20 years younger and you were in that, no, we're not going there.
Whoa.
We're saving that for season 2 on the Books and the Butts.
Brian Gaiman over here. All right.
That's right. But if I was 20 years younger and I had the ability to be your manager in the world of professional wrestling, I would have leapt at that chance. We would have had more fun together, absolutely tearing apart the wrestling world with me as a mouthpiece alongside you who can already shoot promo like nobody's business. That would have been fantastic.
The Waffle House would have hated to see us coming. I can tell you that right now.
Yeah, absolutely. The hell am I even talking about?
Brian.
Thank God this went off the rails, because I would feel like I didn't do my job if it stayed on track.
It was never on the track. It just was
The train started, just flopped right over on its side.
Have you ever seen the thing where the train can't fit into the mountain and it needs some bell lube and it just can't get through? That's what this episode was. That's what this episode.
It's a classic, folks. It's going to go down as a CWN classic.
Imagine someone first time seeing me watches my amazing Bluest Eye review, and I'm so thoughtful and well spoken in that, and like very measured. And they come and tune into this, are like, oh god.
Yeah, like half an hour ago, he was very sentimental about his mother. Now he's talking about, yeah, that's what she's
running through Waffle Houses and being average. Hey,
that's right.
If there's anything
we deliver, folks.
If there's anything I'm good at, it's being bad at branding. I take pride in that. I take pride in that.
That's the only thing I'm good at.
Brian, thank you for coming on. I think I linked your channel in the description. I may not. I copied and pasted from the last one, so hopefully the link worked. If it didn't, I'm sorry. I probably won't update it if I'm being honest.
Like it matters. Come on. All those new subs we're going to unsub within the next couple of weeks anyways. So take that stressor off your to-do list. Seriously.
I come here for the book talk. The book talk, empty. You guys never made it to the station. The train is run by BuzzFeed. That's right. It's the BuzzFeed caboose, and we're pulling into our destination, which is a late Friday night where I eat something unhealthy and wake up and regret it in the morning because I'm too old to do that. But Brian, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being who you are. I genuinely do appreciate you sharing the memories of your mother and keeping that alive, and honestly educating us about someone who was absolutely wonderful and did such an amazing job forming who you are. And we appreciate you and we love you here, man.
Thank you very much. It's awesome to be on. And with all sincerity, thank you for all the kind wishes about my mom and just for being a great friend.
Yeah, man. I am always happy to be here for you. Always happy to chat anytime that you want. Anitha said the link is not working, so you might have to search for BellTube. You might have to search for BellTube. I'll tell you what. This episode was good.
Scour the depths of the ocean and you'll find the channel.
I will link it. I'll tell you what. I'll link it. I'll do that for you.
Thank you.
They call that the rub in the wrestling business. I'm giving you the rub.
You're going to give me the rub?
I'm giving you the rub.
Oh my God. The 4 extra people are going to be so excited.
And I don't put anybody over, so you should feel very special.
Thank you. I mean, if you're putting me over, I will take, when you need me to take that bump for you, let me know. I'll do that for you.
I appreciate taking the fall, man. Folks, go check out BellTube's channel. He's always doing good stuff there. He cares about what he's doing. He's putting effort in. Go check him out. He's amazing. He's awesome. Ignore the fact that he's 75 years old. It doesn't matter. This guy was on Lit RPG before most of us graduated high school. I mean, that is an incredible claim to hipsterdom, if it's any estimation of mine. So go subscribe to BellTube, and if you like the stream, you can hit like. If you dislike it, you can absolutely hit dislike, and I would understand. You can also hit subscribe if you want to see the next episode and all the other stuff that I got coming down the pipe, which, I mean, honestly might not be very much. And there is a Patreon description. It's optional, but always appreciated. Until we see you next time, be good, be safe, and remember to always keep turning the page.